Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Dunigan, and today we have a returning special guest.
Wesley, what's up? Magic Johnson. It's actually Magic Johnson.
Thanks for coming back on, man.
Yeah.
I got my Magic Johnson basketball still in my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've
How's the treatment working for you?
Have it for years.
How's what working for me?
The treatment working for you.
Well, I own all the Starbucks. Run the Lakers, and me and LeBron get along great. Get along so great. And it's just magic. It's a magic time to be Magic Johnson. So.
Oh, very fitting. Very fitting.
Well, and Wes is always fun to have on the show too. We've had him multiple times. I've been on his show a few times and so on, and just always talking good times of movies, having laughs, and nothing but fun times to be had.
I agree. I love talking the movies, talking the cinema with y'all. And this is a interesting one we're going to talk about today. So I'm excited to dissect this masterpiece.
Oh, and this is one.
I think the last time you were on was great. It was the Getaway, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Getaway, 1972.
Old Steve McQueen.
Oh, such a good movie. But actually, this movie this week that we're talking about is one of my all-time favorite films out there. But before we go any farther than that, Wes, what have you been up to?
I've just been a crazy nomad, traveling the world, not really doing a whole lot of anything great, I guess. I started this YouTube thing. I've been doing some film projects and stuff with that. And I decided to keep it, come back down to earth a little bit, keep it a little more terrestrial. So I'm going to start doing the podcast again. So I'm working on relaunching Via VHS. It should be up at the latest January, but I'm trying to get some episodes out in the next week or two, and it's going to be a little different. But I'm excited to talk movies again and go back and talk to the 70s, 80s, and 90s and the old the Via VHS stuff. So I'm excited.
Oh yeah,
Can you say what the YouTube projects you've been working on are? Was it like more like a narrative or like kind of the dissection of like movies, something kind of like that?
I was being really dumb and going to abandoned places and traveling to historic places and stuff like that. And I'm still going to do that, but I'm going to do it more of a hobby because, the wife has a kid on the way and stuff. So I'm like, I should probably
congratulations.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So Wandering West will go even farther. Just like keeps going, never to return, constantly wandering.
I'm going to go
come back like Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah. I'm going to go pick up some cigarettes. He doesn't smoke.
Wait a second. That means he's never returning.
Yeah, wait a minute.
That could very easily lead to like a Scooby-Doo-esque situation. Like, what are you VHS kids doing out here? Like abandoning, like checking out this old abandoned coal mine? Like, turns out it was old man McMillan the whole time.
That creepy perverted bastard. Every time it's him.
Just going.
It was a creepy old dude in a fucking latex mask. At least 90% of the time, it was usually it's the property owner and some kind of real estate scheme most of the time, or at least that's what they would say.
Wasn't it always like the first person you see in the show, like the first person you meet, and how it went on Scooby-Doo?
It would be something like that. Now, if somebody came in like, oh, there was a fucking monster, huh? It was that guy, and there's somebody working with him.
Melon bastards.
Yeah, they always like to do that too, where like it's just like, you know what? It's just gonna be the guy who's just trying to save his property. You know what I mean? Like, things he had some dark, times going on, and lost some money in the stock market, and now he's running the haunted amusement park.
It's they always have good motives. I feel like most of them.
They never really had the one where they just came across like, a Mexican cartel, like dropping bodies and barrels of acid. Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
We thought there was just like some haunted Aztec temple here. This is something else entirely different. We got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, Scooby was never like, sex trafficking. Like that never happened.
Like, zoinks, dude.
Like they're all underage. Call the cops.
It's okay.
Fred's just like, let's just give this a minute, guys.
Wait a second. She's passed out asleep here. I think we need to investigate this farther. What do you say, gang?
Oh man, Fred would do that.
Let's see if she
he's
has any drugs underneath
It's
her
not legal
skirt.
this side of the border, gang. Fred, what? It's not God's country.
Bunch of dirty heathens.
Fred was always a little rapey.
It was the neck shift.
Yeah.
Can't trust the man in the neck.
Never. Never.
Oh yeah, totally. There's always that stuff going on. But actually, really, when I know he says before the podcast, but it's like, well, my favorite types of Scooby-Doo is like once they get to like the 80s when the monsters start to be real. Like I like that more than just having like that mystery. I guess it's like, you know, there's a thing about the mystery solved, but after a while you're like, well, it's always some guy in there. When's it gonna be a real monster? And then when the 80s came around, I was like, oh, now it's all real. Now here's monsters and everything like that. And in fact, it's mostly Scooby and, you know, Shaggy just dropped the rest of the gang. See with that, where it's like they dropped the rest of the gang and just maybe started doing heavier drugs, and maybe the monsters still aren't real. Just imagine that Scooby had a cousin.
Scooby's real, honestly.
Well, Daphne was trying to like be mother hen and trying to like kind of get Shaggy and Scooby clean. Fred and Velma, she's like, look, I'm going back to college. I got to finish my degree. I was this fucking close to you guys talk me into getting into your fucking band. Fred's just looking for fucking trim. That's all Fred's doing. And
I like how Velma's like, I was this close to getting a degree in 1968. It's now 1983.
You don't. I guess we don't know because in that one, like Vincent Price was their Zordon. Like you gotta catch all 13 of the fucking ghosts, you know. So you don't really know. Was Vincent Price really there, or were they like, gosh, Scoob, we were watching the movie and Vincent Price started talking back to us? I'm pretty sure, like you know, there was like Scrappy. Scrappy was hanging out with them by that point. I think Scrappy was like juicing because he's kind of buff for being as small as he is.
Oh yeah, he's either he's on that Pitbull HGH. You know when they put him on the sleds and they're like pulling the tires and stuff.
Yep,
that was Scrappy. He was part of a legal dogfighting ring originally.
Yeah, he was a forerunner in that scene.
You don't know where I've been, Uncle Scoob. You have no idea. Come on, hit me again.
I've seen some shit, Scoob. I've seen some shit.
Just like the last, because you know, like the 13 Ghosts just like ended and there was never like a final episode. It just got canceled. Well, instead, what it is, like the mysterious final episode, it just kind of cuts. It just shows like Scooby and Shaggy like laying on this couch and the TV's just on, but it's just the static screen going. There's just a whole pile of drugs on the table.
As a slow zoom out, you just hear like Vincent Price laughing demonically. Credits.
Yeah, crackling through like the TV. It's just oh.
I would like to see a version of this, like a modern version of this, a really scary version, where Scooby's still the same age, right? But you have the old version of all these people. So like Christopher Lloyd's definitely playing Shaggy in this version. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know who's playing the rest of them, but probably Mel Gibson. This is going to be one of them. Just get the craziest old people you could find. Yeah.
And Mel Gibson as Velma.
Yeah. We need a Mickey Rourke in there somewhere. Just going to throw him in there and just have like
Fred.
a total... Yeah.
Well, see, Mel Gibson would work as Velma because, you know, he has worn like a skirt before, you know, like in Braveheart, you know, with the kilt. So it wouldn't be that far off.
Yeah, and he knows what women want.
Yeah, he does.
He knows.
Did you see that now we're gonna learn what men want in a new remake of that?
I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that. That's sad.
I saw that when I was watching like Creed 2. I was like, what? I'm like, is this fucking what women want? Where the hell's Mel Gibson at? Like,
oh, they have a trailer for it?
Yeah, there was. There was one on Creed 2. There was the trailer for that movie.
Apparently, it was gonna be Red Band, so at least it's a little bit more accurate.
Okay.
I like how what women want was PG-13, what men's want is apparently rated R.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it. I heard there's a Red Band trailer.
Huh.
There's no way that anything going through Mel Gibson's mind is not R-rated. Like, there's no way. I don't care. Yeah, it's not happening.
Chappelle's Show already did like the greatest bit on that. There's that movie, What Woman Want. He did the other version of that, What Men Want. That would be the most vile fucking movie ever. And this lady just walks into this elevator with all these guys, like, man, I want to jam my fingers up that ass. Like, oh fuck! Like all at once, all these guys, all at once. This little kid walks in, and he just looks at her like, I give that bitch the hurting. And then she walks out, and all the men in the room in the elevator just turn and like, oh damn! Like, they just knew.
Damn.
This moment of camaraderie.
Exactly
It's like the movie. They already summed it up in that little 3-minute sketch.
Yeah, I don't know. This one just feels like it's gonna be the toned down version of that.
Oh,
I mean, I know it's rated R, but it's
sad.
just I don't feel like it's gonna be that version.
No, you can't do a real version of that. There's no theater that would accept it.
No, that would be beyond NC-17. I almost said NC-13. It'd be beyond that too, but it would be so like banned from anything. Be like, no, you cannot say that because it'd be all the words that are apparently not allowed to be said anymore. That's all you would hear as the movie went on.
Yeah. You want a bad song of the South? Well, wait till you see this shit. Oh man.
Band movies in America, Song of the South, 1984, What Men Want.
Yeah.
Our version.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this one, yeah, I don't know. It kind of looked like it was in the same line as like the Overboard remake, Though I will say though, this What Men Want. I mean, when I watched the trailer, it was one of those ones where it's like, it didn't look as bad as I thought it was gonna be. When it popped up, I was like, I don't know. And I was like, yeah, there were some funny moments in there. I mean, like it was one of those ones. Like it was, if anything, a well put together trailer.
Oh, okay. Well, hey,
all in all, I mean, don't feel like if you didn't see it, it's not like you're probably missing out on anything. But if you did happen just to stumble across it. It didn't look like it was that bad. It didn't look like one of those movies where like, oh god, look at this.
So you're getting a trailer in November. We're probably looking at a January release. That shit month. Like January, you're either an Oscar contender or just a notch above straight to DVD. Like that's how.
What's funny though is like January and February though I think have some of the best movies of the year come out in that year, and I know
they do now.
Yeah, because like people always put it down as that, but I'm like, here's an example. One of the best movies of this year so far, Hostiles. That came out in January. Yes. So good.
Hostiles is good.
Yeah.
It's still in my. I think it's still in my top 5. I'd have to look, but if it's not, it's really close.
Yeah, because I kind of like was thinking in the background because I'm like, oh, we're coming up on our top 10 of the year episode in January, and I was like, dude, Hostiles, like, that's still high up there. Nothing's really knocked that down at all. So good.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. There was one major flaw with that movie. Other than that, it was almost perfect. But I really, really liked it. There was one thing with one of the characters they just changed very like a little too like drastically. Like all of a sudden, like everything, like his whole mindset changed. But other than that, first of all, Ben Foster. Anything you put Ben Foster in, I'm gonna watch that pretty much.
Especially in a Western. Whenever he's in a Western, like Hell or High Water. 310 to Yuma, that movie. I wish he was in the movie a little bit longer because he's there to say a few villains. I mean, he's mainly a character actor. You kind of bring him in, and even though I liked whatchamacallit, Marky Mark. He's the only one by the end. Lone Survivor. Even though Lone Survivor was
he was in that.
Of everybody to get me in that movie, I was like. Ben Foster. It was like Ben Foster and Neil Hirsch, and I already like Mark Wahlberg, but I see him in 1,000 other things.
Yeah.
Give us more Ben Foster, give us more Paul Dano, and I'm happy. Give me more Paul Dano too.
Yeah, those are just those kind of actors. It's just like I don't know why they always get kind of put on like the C list. Not C list isn't bad, but they're always like third rung characters, like in movies. You never get to see them star. It's kind of like also what's his name from oh god, he was in 3 Billboards.
Sam Rockwell.
He's another one of those guys too. I think that's one
supporting character.
He's always supported, but he's like literally the best part in any movie that he's generally in. He's that good. I'm really excited for that W movie that's coming out where he plays
Vice.
Yeah, Vice.
Vice looks good.
Because I saw that trailer.
He's playing W.
Yeah, and
I didn't even recognize him for a second.
You're my man. You're my VP. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, because
that man is Dick Cheney. That's crazy when you think about it.
I know. It's actually kind of amazing. There's even that shot where it's just like Christian Bale just standing with no shirt. I'm like, shit, what the fuck happened? Like, my belly's just hanging out here.
Is he the new Daniel Day-Lewis? I think he is.
He kind of is. He's definitely doing the Daniel Day-Lewis was like, I'm retiring, and Christian Bale's like, oh, there's an opening.
Yeah, I'm gonna take all your shit. Well, he's been doing it for a minute, but I don't think he's won any like award. I think he's won any Academy Awards yet. So he's like still on that out now. He's like Gary Oldman did the fat suit last year. I'm doing it this year, but I'm doing real fat. Like I'm taking it up a level.
Did Christian Bale win for? I think it was also a fat suit one. Didn't he win for American Hustle? I thought he won for that. Maybe he did. I'm not sure if that was a fat suit or if that was all him, but yeah.
No, that was all Bale. You're getting all the Batman. The abs went away, the beer gut came in, and
that's Dick Cheney too. I could see him going the full distance for Dick Cheney on that.
Oh, he did. He dude, he's gonna kill himself doing that because he's been. Remember, he was the machinist. Yeah, and he was like super frail, and then he was like beefed up for Batman. Now he's been fat twice, and I don't know.
That's got to be like a vacation for him. Just like, oh God, I don't have to eat kale. I don't have to eat cauliflower. I just got to eat burgers for like 3 months and not do push-ups. This is like a vacation for me. Getting back in shape is going to suck, but oh God, yeah. I think whenever he just like wants to be a fat, lazy fuck, he just decides, you know what? Let me play Dick Cheney. Let me play this con man in the 70s. I think that's the reason he actually does these roles.
I think
I want to know what burger tastes like.
Yeah, I picture him like in Arby's yelling at the attendants, like eating like a lot of Arby's and just screaming at everybody, "You bastard! You don't take this seriously. Like, take your job seriously."
God, that Dick Cheney one looks like there was actually more work to get into that shape than it was to get into Batman shape.
Right.
God.
I mean, right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, because in the other one, what was that movie again? We just talked about 2 seconds ago.
Machinist
not the Machinist, the American
Hustle.
Yeah, that one is like that's just like that slightly overweight thing. Like that wouldn't be too hard to get into. But this Dick Cheney one, if that's like all full real, that's like that's going the extreme distance.
It is actually because there's a shot in the trailer where he's shirtless. I remember that now.
Yeah, that's what I remember because he's just kind of like looking at the camera like you're gonna show up. He's like,
this is Batman on his day off
with like a couple of spatulas, just slapping it like, come on, boys, let's do it.
Well, actually, he's more dangerous than Batman, Dick Cheney, because Dick Cheney actually shoots people.
Yeah, Batman doesn't shoot, but Dick Cheney does.
Dick Cheney does. So, like, in a fight, I don't know who I'm taking here. I have to be honest.
It's a good point. That is a good point. Batman, he'll give you like something like, just you're a disgrace of crime. You are just going on a monologue. Dick Cheney's like, get out of here, queer, shoot you.
Call it an accident.
I thought it was a bird.
We were hunting. Yeah.
How's that scene not going to be funny? I don't know.
No, I saw it in the trailer. It looks like he just whips out his gun and shoots the guy. Yeah. I hope that's how it goes in the movie.
Well, it looks like it's in that Wolf of Wall Street type where it's like you get the biopic / it's partially a comedy too. And I love that style. Yeah. That's some of my favorite like movies. Like I think War Dogs did that. American Made, which is my favorite movie of last year, did that. Like
I love American Made.
So good. Like that's one of the best styles. It's like give me a historical picture and just have that kind of like overlay of comedy in there. Like that works out really well.
Well, I mean, it's Adam McKay is directing it. So he's, the other guys, The Big Short, Ant-Man, Anchorman 2. So it's going to be funny. And Sam Rockwell.
Adam McKay did Ant-Man? I thought was that him?
I think was
it the second Ant-Man?
He with the script or something. I wasn't sure. I know he did a lot of
Peyton Reed directed it. Edgar Wright wrote it. It started to, and then I think something happened. I think Adam McKay came in and maybe finished it. Yeah, he wrote the screenplay.
That's what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that McKay, he mostly, I think he was an SNL guy. Then he did a bunch of Will Ferrell comedies. He did all the major ones like Anchorman and Talladega Nights and all that. And, and then did The Big Short. Like, oh wow, this guy is actually. People were surprised by that. Well, other thing about that was, if you watch other guys, it gets oddly political in like Real Wall Street at the very end. Like where that from. So he's like, I think I want to make a movie about that.
And then Rage Against Machine plays in the credits. You're like, wait a second, what's going on here?
I don't want to work on Maggie's Farm no more. Saying how many investors got away, and just like, I thought we were watching a Will Ferrell comedy. What happened here?
Yeah.
Remember that was the movie?
Oh yeah.
Movie where we went in and we got like free movie tickets because like it was like we knew one of the people that worked at the theater and they're like, oh, I'll get you some free movie tickets. And we're like, awesome, that's badass. And we show up there and then it's almost like the, oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to give these out. Hey, we were promised free movie tickets. We ain't leaving until we get them. Like bullied our way into it. Don't tell us we drove all the way here not to get free stuff.
I used to work at a movie theater. Yeah.
She just looked at us like, don't tell nobody. Just be very. She's like, thanks again, Jill. Shh, it's fine. Just take the tickets. Go the fuck in there. Don't look at me. Don't make eye contact. Like, all right, cool.
I used to get a text and I'd take the trash out. I'm taking the trash out, guys. Taking the trash out, and I go out the other side of the door, and my pals would be waiting. I'm like, let's go in. Take the trash out, throw it away. We'd sneak them in. All right, you're seeing 8-legged freaks, like it or not, bitch.
See, there was a time period where like sneaking in the movie theaters was just a Tuesday, and you know.
Freaks.
Now they've really just locked it down. So you know what? You can't be like. I just remember being a kid and getting dropped off on a Saturday at like 9 in the morning, and then you didn't get picked up till about 9 at night, and you just hung out the movie theater all day, like scavenging for like popcorn and soda bottles and so on, like some kind of wild dog in Mexico.
Well, they'd have those guys where they'd have those guys that walk in the theater with like a little checkboard and like a little like light looking down, saying how many tickets for this movie, and look back and counting. And I remember there's like this initial fear in high school about like, what if they count and they realize the number's off? And then I just mentioned, all right, guys, shut down the movie. Like lights come on, movie stops, bars come over the doors. Pull out the fucking tickets. Let me see them.
When I was first of all, we had a guy that did something like that. He would like take check boards, but he didn't really kick anybody out. I was the guy. They're like, you're gonna kick people out, Wesley. Me and my buddy Jeremy were like, you guys are gonna kick people out. We never really did, but one night there was these little rascals acted particularly rowdy. I can't remember what movie it was in, but they were in one of the back theaters, so it was like at the end of its run, you know.
Setting up like firecrackers and like
they were just yelling and being obnoxious and saying stupid stuff, and it wasn't funny, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, little 1920s, like paperboy hats. So it just comes to mind when you say little rascals.
Yeah, that's exactly how they were. And so Darla and anyway, so I walked out of this theater, and as I went in there and I heard them. I'm like, okay, if they don't shut up, I'm gonna get them. As I'm walking out, I see a laser pointer on the floor. I said,
I know what year this is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was. Yeah. Exactly. It was around the same. It was probably 8-legged freaks actually.
Yeah, it probably was that same showing.
Probably the same one. So anyway, I went in there, and so I shined the laser. It was like a stadium seating, so you can't see who's walking in the door. So I walk in there. I shine the laser up on the screen, and people are laughing. I walk around the corner. Who's got the laser pointer? Who has got the laser pointer? And they're all like looking at each other. I said, if I find out who's got that laser pointer, I'm kicking you all out. Like, okay, I'm sorry. So I walk around, open the door, shut the door, wait about 30 seconds and shine it again. And all the kids would be like, who's got the laser pointer, guys? He's going to kick us out. Like, we're freaking out. I did that for a while. That was a good time.
Oh, that's awesome.
You just come in like a drill sergeant, like, well, what we got here?
Yeah, pretty much. I had spurs on, like as I was going up the steps. Yeah, I was kind of a douche that day, but it was worth it.
They're children; they deserve it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They probably forgot about it by now, but I didn't.
Here's the interesting thing. When was the last time you saw somebody just like whip out a laser pointer? You know what I mean? Think about it. There was this like about like a 5, 6, maybe even 7 year period where like laser pointers were like the fucking shit. Like, you know, if you were a kid, you had to get a fucking laser pointer. Like, dude, like why would you not have one? And of course, you'd always find the rich kids got like the $35 laser pointer, and you're like, fuck that kid. With like
metal.
It takes like the good batteries. Like you'd actually put like a AAA battery in there. You don't get a bunch of hearing aid batteries that cost like 5 times more than your laser pointer.
And you got it from Sharper Image.
Yeah, you know, or Radio Shack or something like that. I just remember doing all kinds of stupid shit with like the laser pointer was like kids. Like, you know, you'd be like driving down the road and you're like shining it into other people's cars like an asshole. Or being like
now that might.
Yeah, you would be able to get away with that now. Well, I also remember this is the other one. I remember going to like cities like San Francisco and so on and shining it down bullets from the top of buildings. So it just probably looked like a sniper. I mean, like, as a kid, you're probably just thinking, like, dude, I'm fucking dicking of this guy. You gotta be like, dude, what the fuck? You see him, like, slap his, like, shirt, like, oh god. And then you fucking duck and cover and, like, wait, and then pop back up and then just shoot it across the street again and see if you can get that guy to fucking react.
The Homeland Security would get you now.
Oh god, you couldn't do this now.
You could have totally phone boothed somebody, call someone on the phone booth, and then, like, you know, just point the little laser, like,
shit, same time
reach
period.
above you. There will be an AK-47. Like, what? Do it.
See, the phone booth would have been the 100% the laser pointer time period, like the dead center.
Yeah, exactly. I think they went away when they the people upped the ante to the green ones that you could shine into the sky, like the legit ones that like you could shine on airplanes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think when they upped the ante to that, shit got real, and they had to stop it.
Well, that was the other thing too. Is like, remember, people were getting in trouble for shooting laser pointers up at like an airplane. I'm like, that takes some skill to hit an airplane with a laser pointer. Shit, it's already tough enough to shoot it like 200 feet away, like let alone to do that.
Last time we were using one of those things was the fuck around with a cat. You know, like a few years ago. I think they still exist for that point now. To torture small animals. Like, I can't fucking get it. Why not?
Yeah, that was how they were initially sold.
Walmart now. Hug with your pets. Hey.
Just really piss them off. Oh. But good old times with laser pointers. I know I still have a couple laser pointers. If I searched hard enough, I could probably find one. I bet you I got one in my survival backpack and so on.
Do you have one in your Air Force One fanny pack?
I don't have it in my Air Force One. That's why I keep all my Game Boy games in.
Oh, that's right. I knew you had a purpose for that.
I did. I got 2 of those Air Force Ones because I didn't get my Devil's Advocate one, but I'm actually more grateful to actually have 2 Air Force Ones.
Let me reach into my Devil's Advocate fanny pack here.
I kid you not, though. But that was the thing,
Air
though.
Force One.
You got them like you bought the pay-per-view movies, and remember they used to give you free shit for getting pay-per-view back in the day. Well, I remember like we rented Air Force One and Devil's Advocate, and like we were supposed to get like an item from both of them, and instead we just got 2 Air Force One bags.
So you did get your Devil's Advocate fanny pack. That sucks.
Where's my Devil's Advocate fanny pack? Oh, it's right by your it's right by What Women Want, the What Women Want visor.
Yeah, the visor.
I don't know. I'm surprised I never got some of What Women Want. I want to say I remember getting that movie on pay-per-view too.
Oh man. Probably like a coin purse, like a What Women Want coin purse.
Yeah. Or you get like something that says like, 5 obnoxious things women say. And you like press it. It's got like different sayings on it.
It's a pin and you click it every time. It's like, take out the trash, honey, and click it.
I'm just imagining.
I remember like
right next to there's something about Mary, like fucking T-shirt that came through pay-per-view. Has a picture of the dog in a cast or whatever.
Something about Mary hair gel.
I remember there was like one of those like saying things that's got like 5 phrases on it. And there was like a Mr. Rogers one, and one of the things was like, I like you just the way you are. I just remember like wanting to get one of those and just going up to like people, like going up to like a hobo, be like, I like you just the way. Or you could just go up to just anybody else, like down on their luck and press that button.
If it was a hobo, you endanger yourself, him just jumping up onto his feet and like jerking off in front of you.
Yeah, he'd be like, oh god.
You still like me? Jesus still love me?
I'm gonna fuck that machine off your hand.
Wow, it got dark. It got dark real quick.
Those hobos get dark real. They don't take long for them to go down, Rape Alley.
When I was in San Francisco, it was probably about 6 years ago now. Like that was like a whole different breed of hobos. Like they were very aggressive.
They're intense here. You could the thing about hobos here in San Francisco is, I don't know. You could bump into hobos other places, and whatever. They're homeless people. They vary from person to person. Here though, they are very aggressive. They get angry when you don't give them $1. They'll give you shit. There's some. Now I'll say this, because I worked in a lot of tourist spots. There's some that are just people down on luck that are just trying to get by, who aren't hassling anybody. But there are those who full on just like throwing shit at people in the middle of the fucking street. It's not like it's not like full on Mad Max, but on a bad day in the financial district, if you squint hard enough, like maybe.
Yeah. I had a hobo come up and do a flying kick to me, like in the richest part of San Francisco, like one day, and then keep running. Yeah, literally, it was like that. It was like that moment where like you were standing there and you were so like, "What the fuck just happened?" So you don't react. You know, like, and 5 minutes later, as you're walking down the street, you're like, "Oh, someone would have fucking kicked that guy's ass if he would have stuck around." You know what I mean? Like, but at the moment, you're like, "The fuck just happened?" Like he just came flying. He literally did like a flying kick and it like hit me in the chest, and he like bounced off, and it's like it didn't knock me over or anything. It was like. It was more just like one of those moments like, the fuck is going on? And then he just like starts running off in the other direction. And it's like, I'm still going like, the fuck is going on? This is like the richest section of like San Francisco, and like, where'd this guy come from? You like...
I wish that kind of happened to me when I was there. I know, it's a cool story. Like, I got roundhouse kicked by Fisherman's Wharf the other day.
Yeah. There's this one...
He looked like he was in like the Ninja Turtles video game coming at me.
Just like one of the beat 'em up guys that come across in level 1.
Yeah, just doing like a flying judo kick.
No, there's like I said this on the show before, like probably like 2 or 3 years ago, but we'll get to Maximum Overdrive here in a second. But there is like this one time, because I used to work at this bike rental company, and one of the locations was over in by Fisherman's Wharf, over at the ferry building, and over there it's kind of the worst. It's kind of like Mad Max in training. There was one point in time a guy like on a bicycle wearing a Spider-Man mask with a swastika covered on it, and then like military gear, like not military gear, but I guess camo, like old beat up, torn up camouflage, and he was just walked around with a fucking machete on his belt. Like, oh, this is fucking awesome. Anyway, so there's one time, not that guy, but this one guy was just kind of like this drunken, belligerent asshole with like a box of like Coors Light, was just like nudging to go, like, ah, fuck out of my way, move! And he started cutting literally through our bike display. And there was this little like 7-year-old German kid that was just waiting in line for his bike. And he bumps into this kid, looks down, he's like, fuck you! And then the kid just looks there shocked. You know, first off, the kid doesn't know what he's saying, but just this big fucking ratty looking homeless guy yells down to this kid, fuck you!
15 hours into being in America.
Yeah. He's like, hey man, can't go this way, that way. He's like, fuck you, I go where I want. No, fuck you, go around the other way. And that triggers him to just kind of walk around the area of the bike rental section, just screaming like, fuck you, I'll kill all of you, your whole fucking family. And I like at some point I grab like a fucking like U-lock, and I'm looking at him like, just give me a reason, motherfucker. And he says, you put that U-lock down and you face me like a fucking man. You know, and then like at some point, like there's this one vendor, there's a bunch of vendors out there. There's like this one like old British black guy with a big white afro comes out, and he just like just walks up to this guy, and he's like, yo, what are you doing? He like grabs like the dude's backpack from him. He's just like, I have rights, you can't. Starts literally beating the guy with his own backpack. He then drops his beer. He grabs the beer box, just throws it on the ground. All these skater punks start running up, just grabbing all the beer. The guy literally lunges on top of this pile of beer and goes, like it's
like an animal.
Fucking biker. And then he gets up and starts walking away, and he turns around. He says, like, I hate white people. This dude's white.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the area too. That's like the Tony Hawk level.
Yeah,
because I remember when I first saw him. Like, wait a second, I know where I am. This is Tony Hawk 3 or whatever.
Now he's gonna play some like. Now he's gotta play some Goldfinger while you do some sick grindage.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's really carnage when you kind of... Because every city, I think, goes like, you know where we can send these hobos to? San Francisco. And I think that's what just happens, is they just come from, like, Florida and New York and Arizona and everywhere else where people don't like hobos. And they just go, yep, here you go. Well, that, you know, it costs us all of, $500 in bus tickets and no more hobo problems.
Feed them to the seals.
Oh... It's chaos, but you know what else is chaos? It's maximum overdrive when you're out there. When vehicles start to come to life, it's just like San Francisco, like the hobos there, but with vehicles and machinery. And really, Maximum Overdrive is just one of those movies. To me, it is an ultimate classic. It is a childhood favorite of mine by far. I know it's not, it's one of those movies like you couldn't just like sell this movie to anybody. It's one of those ones like it's not the most greatest made movie ever, but to me is like being like a kid watching this movie, like being like 6 years old, being like, oh my god, this is so amazing. Can't take that away.
Hi, my name is Stephen King. I've written several motion pictures, but I want to tell you about a movie called Maximum Overdrive, which is the first one I've directed. Wow.
What in the dickens is going on around here?
A lot of people have directed Stephen King novels and stories, and I finally decided if you want something done right, you ought to do it yourself.
And who was driving it?
I don't know.
Curtis! It's coming after us!
It was my first picture as a director, and you know something? I sort of enjoyed it.
What is going on?
I don't know!
I just wanted someone to do Stephen King right.
You want a war? You got one. I just want to get the hell out of here.
So come and spend some time with me and my friends at the Dixie Boy. Spend some time in the dark.
Please don't let us be in the dark.
Help me.
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you. And that's a promise.
You're going to get us in an awful lot of trouble, man. We already in trouble.
Maximum terror.
Jesus coming and he is.
Maximum King.
Maybe tomorrow will be our world again.
Dino De Laurentiis presents Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive.
It's a coke-fueled fantasy.
It is. It's just Stephen King, like at his binge points.
Have you seen the trailer for it where he's like talking about Maximum Overdrive?
He looks like a fucking plastic mask. Like, a lot of people have made movies about my books, and I learned if you want to do it right, you got to do it yourself.
Talking to you, Stanley Kubrick.
You fuck.
You fucked up The Shining. I mean, I know it made a lot of fucking money, and it's everybody's favorite Stephen King movie, but it ain't fucking like the book. Goes down. Oh, that's right, Stephen. You tell him, Stephen. Okay, so what we're talking about?
Wait till you see my damn clown movie.
He was writing it while making Maximum Overdrive.
Of course he was.
I heard Cujo. I heard he like just blanked out writing Cujo. I heard he just was on a cocaine bender and he woke up with a finished book in front of him with a bunch of bloody, snotty, like snot rags, basically.
It'd be funny too if he woke up and the book was all printed and ready and stuff like too. It's like, shit, how long has that been? Like, it wasn't just finished written, like literally the editing part, everything else it went through.
I can see the cocaine-ness because he loves AC/DC. Whenever I think Stephen King, I don't think AC/DC. The fact's like, I'm getting AC/DC to do the band, to do all the music for this one. It's like, all right, Stephen.
That's his favorite. That's his favorite band.
It is his favorite band.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the thing I love most about this movie. This is because when you think you went over the top. Okay, when you think now I've got, basically a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher, and then I have like trucks running over people and all this crazy shit. Like, what takes it to another level? Nothing, right? You can't turn it up to 11. Yes, you can, because we're going to have AC/DC do the soundtrack of the movie. If we're going to take it to that next level, I appreciate that. So does cocaine.
Yeah, well, it's one of those ones, too. It's like, apparently AC/DC never, like, did a soundtrack for anybody's movie or anything like that. And then Stephen King came up and he sang, like, a full song in its entirety of AC/DC, like one of the Bon Scott ones. And they're like, oh, okay, let's see what happens. It's Stephen King. Obviously, he likes the stuff. We'll put him in there. And then Stephen's like, hey, you guys want to be in the movie? No, we don't want to fucking be in the movie, but here's some music.
That Kenny Loggins bastard's making tons of money doing these movies.
Yeah, fuck that guy and his Caddyshack.
His fucking Transformers, and his Top Guns.
Yeah. Let's get some of that money. Let's get some of that money.
Wait, did Kenny Loggins did Transformers?
Yeah, he did.
Somebody
No,
else.
he didn't do Transformers. That was
The guy who did Rocky 4 did Transformers.
Yes.
Europe?
Yeah.
Europe?
Stan Bush did. Well, Stan Bush did like the two kind of like let's put some of the songs in there. The guy who did Rocky 4, I think, did some of the because I don't think that was Stan Bush. I think that was shit. I know that he's in there though.
Somewhere, but yeah, I'll be honest though. Knowing this is a Stephen King movie, now, if you didn't tell me it's a Stephen King movie, I guess I wouldn't think about it right off the bat. Because when I think Stephen King, I think more of like, I guess, dark fantasy, very nocturnal shit. I think like, stuff kind of, whether it be, a simple like kind of psychological horror movie or something kind of tiptoeing into H.P. Lovecraft territory, because I know he's a big fan of Lovecraft. This doesn't seem like that kind of like, it doesn't seem like a Stephen King movie to me.
Seems like a Carpenter movie.
Yeah. It does definitely come across like that. Well, here's the thing though, is Stephen King, he pretty much owns like mostly all the car killing movies out there, because Christine, when John Carpenter does that one, but that's, he did that one in 82, and then you got this one, Maximum Overdrive, and then in 97 there's Trucks, which is kind of still based off the same story that Maximum Overdrive is based off of, so it's kind of a remake, but it's its own thing. So there's 3 Stephen King movies that are all like car killing ones.
The only one I think maybe The Duel, right?
Yeah, there's Duel, and that's one of those ones where it's like, because you never see the driver, so you never really know what it is. So I feel like that's still pretty much in that similar category. And then there's actually another movie called Cars, because I remember being a kid, like when we found Maximum Overdrive, it was like, oh my god, this is so amazing. And then a little bit later, Trucks came out, and we found that one. And then scanning through TV, I remember we found like all these other movies that they would play too, and that's where I found Cars, which I haven't been able to find that one on DVD again yet. And then there was just Christine, of course, like the classic one, and so on. But it was like whatever like car killing movies I could find, it was like that genre is amazing, and it's something that really hasn't existed in many years. Trucks is probably the last thing where something came to life, and just vehicles and stuff. I mean, it's like, I guess it's in that same kind of sense, like computer oriented and so on. But I like what made Maximum Overdrive kind of cool is it's all like old fashioned analog. Vehicles coming to life, trucks, and like electric, like knives and just like weird shit like that, and arcade cabinets. Like the cool thing too is there's that part where like there's a kid that gets killed in the arcade room, and it's Gus from Breaking Bad.
Oh, I didn't know that was Gus.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I thought that was just awesome too. I didn't know that either until because I got this special edition Maximum Overdrive that just came out like maybe a month ago or something like that. And it's like a Blu-ray super high def version, and it's got like 3.5 hours or so of like special features on it. It's so amazing.
Like a Blade Runner cut of some kind?
Dude, it literally is. It's like the Blade Runner of Maximum Overdrive. It's like when I saw that, I'm like, yes, I'm buying that. And it was one of those expensive ones too. It was like $25, but I'm like, sometimes when they make these kind of like B movies and like in super special edition, they never really go down in price. They just stay really high up there. It's like a lot of the John Carpenter ones. If you want like the special edition Blu-rays of them, it's like they're always $20. You never see it for like $5 or $10 or anything like that. You're lucky if you can find
Disney
15.
movies.
Yeah.
They just have a limited run and so on. So I saw this. I'm like, it probably will never go down in price. I gotta have this. This movie right here. It's just one of those ones, like, I watched it so much as a kid, and it always is like a film that puts just a smile on my face when I go into it. Just the ultra violence in it. And it's just something like, once again, I feel like you just don't see very often. It's a very lost genre of like horror films.
Maybe it was one of those things I found it was very violent for the time, but I guess I was surprised by how pulled back it was, once again, being a Stephen King story. There's like some things that were probably really shocking for the time, like there's the part where the kid gets, which I laughed, I rewind that part like 3 times, where the kid gets ran over by the steamroller.
Yeah, that part's amazing.
Great. There's that, which I guess back like, oh my god, they killed a kid in a major motion picture. That one was just full on because the other ones got pegged by some like cans. They just went down. But then that one was just one of the kids like, ah! And then there's that part, and then there's the part where the lady gets like her part of her arm cut with the
knife.
Electric knife. But beyond that, I was kind of surprised by how back some of the violence was. Maybe back at the time, though, those 2 or 3 scenes were probably enough to go, fuck.
Well, they didn't. Yeah. They had to cut this movie. That's the sad thing. And I almost kind of wish somebody would put together an uncut version of this movie, because there was a special effects guy. He had an interview on the Blu-ray DVD, and he talked about all the scenes that had to get cut or shortened or trimmed down the violence in them and so on. So it's another one of those films where it's like, God damn it. It's like, I'd love to see somebody put this back together. I don't even care if it looks kind of like with funky footage. Like, that would be neat to see.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of really, really interesting ways people died in that movie that they didn't get on screen. Because he had a lot of really, the whole thing is fucked up anyway. So I'm sure that deep in the recesses of his cocaine-fueled mind, he had some crazy thing up his sleeve that we didn't get to see. I would like to see that cut too.
You know, it's one of my favorite scenes that always sticks out to me in that movie, though, is the part where the kid, after he leaves the baseball game and he's riding on his bike, and he's going down just the suburbia of his town, and he's looking left and right and just seeing all these people being killed in different ways. Like, there's the guy who's been killed by, like, the lawnmower, and then there's the lady that's hanging out with, like, I think she's got, like, a curling iron or something like that. And then, you see, like, the pizza delivery guy dead, and just, like, all this, like, carnage going on. Even the dogs on the streets dead. And I just remember watching that as a kid, because, like, those baseball kids is almost like, that felt like, oh my God, there's my relatable character as, a child watching this film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And this to me always seems kind of weird, but it's like, this is what I always call, like, it's a perfect rated R movie for a kid. Like, and I know some people be like, wait, so you're not showing kids, like, no. This is exactly what a child wants to watch in a horror movie. It's like, it's got vehicles in it. You know what I mean? Because as a kid, you're like, oh my God, look at the trucks are driving by themselves. That's so amazing. And semi-trucks. And, when you're all obsessed with that kind of stuff, it's got, like, the perfect amount of violence, but it's almost like it's violent, but not so violent that I feel like you can't show a kid it. There's really nothing too bad. I mean, there's a little bit of swearing and so on like that, but it's almost like it is a perfect kind of rated R introductory film for a child to horror.
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly, actually, because it's like Cars, the Disney movie Cars, but except people die.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Like, because I didn't think about that. Disney movie's called Cars, but there's actually a movie prior to that called Cars. It's a horror killing movie. I think it's so funny that they, like, you know what?
Yeah.
When someone does an Amazon search, what's gonna pop up?
Exactly.
When Grandma goes to buy little Billy his copy of Cars, which one is he gonna get in the mail?
Well, I like to think they actually, because it's like when Inglourious Bastards came out, they re-released Enemy at the Gates on DVD, but they made it look like Inglourious Bastards with the font and the posing and all that kind of stuff. So I'm wondering if they'll do that with, like, make the old cars look like the Pixar cars, just change the font, brighten it up a little bit, turn on the contrast.
Maybe that
Lightning McQueen, but he's like dismembered.
Maybe that's the reason why I can't find Cars on DVD or anything like that. It's probably Disney's holding it back.
I'm gonna go to Alamo Drafthouse this coming week, and they have thousands upon thousands and thousands of VHS and Blu-rays DVDs that weren't released at other times or in other mediums. I'll see if they have it.
Take a look. Because you probably could find it on VHS. I bet you if I looked on eBay, and every once in a while I'll do that. If I can't find a movie on DVD or Blu-ray and I really want to see it, it's like, nope, I'll go get the VHS. And sometimes also too, the other nice thing is sometimes YouTube has these kind of movies that are hard to find.
Yes.
I'll go search YouTube. It's like, oh, there it is. It's like, oh, awesome, and nobody pulls it down. It's like, It's like if I can't get a movie anywhere and I tried to buy it and YouTube's the only place, please don't pull it down there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's clearly not making money anywhere else.
At a certain point, it's public domain. When it's just not making money anymore, it's just like you might as well just let people have it for free,
Yeah, if nobody's
like that.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's one of those ones like you can always release a special edition if you want, but if you're just gonna hold on to it just to hold on to it, just let it be free. Let it out its cage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or it's like I was gonna say, there's like that one movie we were watching that one time, the Orson Welles movie, one of his last movies, Blood and Guns.
Blood and Guns.
Orson Welles plays like a crime lord in Mexico.
Yeah.
Is this the one that they're doing the documentary on Netflix right now?
I can't imagine this.
I don't know. I want to check it out now.
But
I mean, what's the documentary called?
I barely saw it. There's an Orson Welles documentary. It's just about his life, and then there's a movie that he's making, and it's like he's trying to get the project done, and it kind of teases whether he got it done or not. So I'm assuming it's that film.
No, I don't think it is because it's not his movie. He's just in it. Because this is a famous Italian movie. It's actually one of Quentin Tarantino's like top 25 favorite movies of all time. I found it on a list. Of course. It has a different name in Italy, so that's why I didn't recognize it the first time. But in America, it's just called Blood and Guns.
Which I would watch that.
Yeah, I got a big old VHS copy, and it comes in like the old fashioned Disney cases where they're like those big old plastic ones.
Oh, those clamshell cases.
Yep,
huh?
It's one of those ones.
That's how you knew it was legit.
We need to pull that one out again too and rewatch it. I feel like it's definitely a movie that needs a second watch because I only watched it that one time.
Mm-hmm. But going back to this though for a second, in Maximum Overdrive, I think the movie's also meant to be partially, well, definitely it's meant to be partially satirical because a lot of the deaths at the beginning are funny when they're all on the bridge and all the technology starts to push back. And there's the one guy on the bridge, there's the old man like, well, what's going on? What happened to my sandwich? And there's the one guy like, I don't know. What's going on? He's like smacks that guy down. People are dying, you fucking idiot. Oh, my bad.
Well, I think that's too. It's like it definitely has that. It's like that kind of thing that, like, as a kid, you don't notice it. You just take it full on serious, almost like equivalent of like Batman 66. When you're a kid and you watch Batman 66, it's a pure serious show. When you get older, you kind of see the jokes in there.
Oh yeah, that's that's why I felt like this film for so long was a Carpenter film because it's kind of just that over the top ridiculousness in some areas. But I think I agree with you. I think he's not meaning for this to be taken seriously. So I think when people first saw this, knew it was a Stephen King film, they had their expectations like, oh, this is what this is going to be. This is what we're going to get. And they're like, oh, no, this is what the fuck is this? You know, I feel like that's why the critics hated it so much and everybody hated it so much because this is not what – the closest thing I've seen Stephen King to this is like the It TV miniseries, like when, you know, well, of course, not as graphic on that, but just it's so weird. The whole thing is so weird, and it doesn't feel like him at all.
You don't like the It TV miniseries? I remember I love that one as a kid.
I like it better now than I did then for some reason. It didn't scare me, but the whole time I was just like, you know what I did like? I hated it, but I liked the Langoliers.
The Langoliers.
The Langoliers are really bad. Like, I guess you call it CGI. I don't know what it was, but it was like probably 95, right? And it was bad. It was really, really bad.
Well, I remember I watched like many of those like Stephen King like mini series or so, and you get your like buddies together, and like, dude, it's gonna be so scary. We're gonna like let's get together and watch this. And then, like, you know, like half the time too, you get to watch like the first like hour and a half, and nothing happens in like those mini series. It's just like leading you on to God knows whatever you're getting into.
Yeah,
and a lot of them it'd be something kind of, it'd be like a big long setup, and like, okay, and here is what you're waiting for right here. This is where most of the money went to. This part where the clown goes down the pipe in like a weird like stop motion kind of fashion, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it seems like they always put their money in like those small parts. Beyond that, there's a lot of people like, what do you mean a clown? What? You know, a lot of that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
dragging it on for those commercial money.
Even though I do kind of miss miniseries, I thought there's something to be said about like not just extending a TV show for so long, just saying, hey, here it is. It's 3 episodes. Here's the story. It's a one and done. That's it. Like there's something kind of neat about that. You don't see that anymore. I don't know. It's either you have a movie or you have a full-on TV series. There's no in between anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the pomp and circumstance isn't there either. Like with when you're a kid, you know, you have that amazing graphic, you know, Sunday night movie or, you know, the Thursday miniseries, and it's like lasers and stars and like all these things, and it makes you feel like you're in a movie theater, and you kind of get immersed in it, and you sit down like, I don't give a shit. There's commercials. This is really, really cool. Nowadays, you just hit Netflix and something pops up. I think it takes the romantic element out of it. You know what I mean? You see like You see what Rotten Tomatoes says. You can see what how many thumbs up or thumbs down it's gotten on Netflix, and if it's recommended for you. So your expectations are already there, you know.
Well, there's so.
Well, also just going on. Go ahead, dude.
Oh, I was just gonna say there's also about watching movies in the olden days, where like when you didn't have any reviews and you had no knowledge of it and you went into stuff blindly. There's something to be kind of said, and I think it was Edgar Wright. I remember he's like, I think there's a lost art of just watching movies off of TV anymore. Because here's the thing. Nowadays, it's like if you watch a movie like on Netflix, you can watch 10 minutes of it and you just turn it off and go to something else. You know, but back in the day, it's like if that was all that was on TV, that was probably what you were just going to watch, and you're going to sit through it. And maybe it's not the greatest movie, but maybe there's that one scene in there where you're like, oh my God, that's a great scene, or that's an awesome car chase, or here's a sweet death that you would never have found if, you know, you turned it off 10 minutes into. But if you sit through it and kind of cipher through, you never know what you might find in certain movies. And I think there's something to be said like that for, like, you know, the old-fashioned TV watching, you know. That's why generally when I watch a movie, I like to say that I'm generally committed once I start it up. Like, I'm going to watch it to the end. You know, very rarely have I ever just turned a movie off.
Well, also going off of, to jump off of something similar, kind of what you said, Spencer, as well as Wes, what you said regarding Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and different rating scores. When you were a kid, there is that thing. I remember, like, movies from my childhood, just going and seeing certain movies and assuming it was a classic because I liked it from my childhood, and then looking back and then realizing, like, oh wait, critics hated Home Alone. I thought that was like this movie that everyone loved, you know, right. Or like something like, oh wait, people didn't like Hook. I thought that was a really well-respected movie. That
was the one that got me.
Yeah.
I agree with you whole day. I was like, what, Hook? You don't like who hates Hook?
Well, I don't know. There must have been something. There must have just been these adults that just hated children's movies at that time period. Because think about it. Whenever there's a kids movie, Home Alone, they hated that. Hook, they hated that. Last Action Hero, they hated that. And now all these movies are like regarded as like timeless classics. You know, oddly enough, and even Last Action Heroes come back around because I think it just took our generation to be like, no, Last Action Hero is amazing. Like, who the hell said it's not? You know, and it's just cool because I remember just seeing it in Muscle and Fitness. When I saw Last Action Hero, when they do their normal, like, top 10 best Arnold Schwarzenegger movies of all time, and Last Action Hero was, like, number 3 in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, how are the times a-changing? I mean, it outbeat, like, big Arnold movies.
And that's also like one of the first probably referential, like, meta, like, comedy movies on action films.
Yeah, I don't think there was really one before that. You know, I mean, maybe if you look hard enough, there might be some, like, you know, Italian one out there, something that was done a couple of years beforehand. But beyond that, no, it's just...
Well, something that was like, that spoke on action film cliches, but was not like some goofy parody. It actually was still an action movie. Something in the same vein of Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, exactly. You still got an action movie, but you can still, like, laugh along the way, too.
But going back to Maximum Overdrive for a minute, I'll say that, like, I'm not going to lie. The villain of the movie is so hateable, but I'm kind of glad he's there. The Boss Hogg looking motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
With the rocket launcher. When that guy comes out with a rocket launcher at some point, I'm like, okay, this is not at all meant to be taken seriously. Yeah, I just got these all stocked up down there. No big deal.
Well, it's like in that Tremors kind of style where, like, you know, people just had these built-up fortresses of guns and so on. Like, so I don't feel like it's anything out of the ordinary.
Just how cartoonish he was. How he was basically he was basically Foghorn Leghorn. He was a member of the NRA at the end of the day.
I see.
I tell you, boy.
What's that chicken hawk doing over here, boy? I say what?
But it's one of those ones that's like when Billy Estevez comes in there, it's like, well, guess what? You're gonna check in for 9 hours today, or you're gonna check in for 8 hours today, but you're gonna work 9 hours. You see? And it's just like, oh, I don't fucking like that. I'm just tough guy. Really, Emilio Estevez felt like he just like walked off of like Streets of Fire into this movie.
Yeah. Like, shut the fuck
He's
up.
He's got like that 1950s like attitude coming in, like, I just got out of prison.
Seem like kind of like a gris.
Why do you think I went to prison?
He's the wisecracking kind of guy. He's not going to intimidate anybody, even with his rocket launcher. It's like, yeah, you're kind of a bitch, but like I mean, yeah, I don't know. But the rocket launcher and the AC/DC combined form two parts of the trifecta that makes this a badass movie. Like, so he like walks into a room, Okay. Okay, I got this movie to pitch. Well, just tell me a little bit about it. Well, there's AC/DC and there's rocket launchers. Okay. We're going to make this movie. Do you want to know anything else? Do I need to know anything else? Do I need to know anything else? No.
There's a Green Goblin semi-truck.
Oh, okay. Definitely sold.
That's self-driving.
How much do you... Yeah.
Well, because I think that's just the coolest thing. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you have like movies before. It's like, okay, you got like zombies and so on like that. But now it's like, how do you up that ante? Well, it's like, no, now you have it where vehicles have been possessed by some kind of like alien meteorite or what have you. And just the whole like, it's kind of weird because it is one of those ideas that's like, yeah, it's kind of like, definitely like you got to suspend your disbelief. But
oh, yeah.
I think when you just kind of take the concept and just, once you just kind of accept it and you don't think too much into it, it is one of those ones like, that's such a cool idea though, is the whole point is just like, now you can't trust your own vehicles. You can't trust your own machines. Like, this is one of these films that I really think that somebody, maybe not necessarily a remake, but somebody needs to make a new killer car movie. I think it's one of those ones, the concept's pure awesome. And if you put together, you know, if you got like Rob Zombie or you got Robert Rodriguez or you got somebody who, you know, you could trust to put this together, I think there could be an amazing, put Steve King right on there again too. Why not? Have him show up at the very beginning too. We're like, honey, this thing called me an asshole.
I'm not gonna lie, I just kind of put it together just now. Maybe I'm late to the party on this one, but it almost seems more of kind of like a 1950s kind of thought, kind of like an idea, kind of 1950s pitch. Like, what if our technology turned on us, and not like, you know, not like a Terminator kind of way. Just like, what if your car just came after you, but like in a Mars Attacks kind of way. But then they just said, but let's give it like, let's make it rated R. Let's give it that kind of 80s kind of vibe to it, and very cocaine fueled.
Yeah.
There's a.
Do you think people paid with cocaine in this movie?
Well, I don't know. Maybe the little kid, because I saw him in the interviews afterwards, and he looked a little bit wild.
Yeah.
He definitely.
This movie
sounds
started
weird.
him.
The little kid aged worse than everybody else.
Those child actors.
Like, I kid you
Fucked
not.
him up, man.
Everybody else looked like 10 times better than that kid.
He'd seen some shit, man. He's on maximum overdrive when he was little. I'm glad I didn't see this film when I was really little, because I lived where it was filmed. I didn't live there when it was filmed. My dad was my stepdad was a Marine, so his first year was the year this was being filmed, and so Camp Lejeune is like right by Wilmington. So I would have saw this movie probably down 88, 89, and I would have been like, oh hey, there's where the Green Goblin truck was, and I was scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, here's the same highway that they all drove down.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, what? It would have turned into a documentary at that point. Like, when I get to tangibly see the areas, like, that would have scared the shit out of me.
I would just like to see, like, we need sponsors. Well, we got Bic pens. Bic pens? Yeah, we can get them in. Like, should we tell them what we're going to use their semi truck for? No, don't fucking tell them that shit.
Don't tell them shit.
Don't tell them that their truck's going to be committing homicides here.
Just tell them the guy from Young Guns is going to be in it. Just tell them that.
I mean, we know Young Guns hasn't been shot yet, but tell them that.
Oh, I guess it was before Young Guns, wasn't it?
Well, because this was like, Emilio Estevez is like, I guess was big movie, was like Repo Man was just out right before this. I mean, sounds weird to say.
Is that the one with Charlie Sheen in it?
No, it doesn't have Charlie Sheen in that one. That's the one where like he's like, he goes to repossess those cars and stuff, and he's
a trash collector.
Yeah, and he's like this. Oh yeah, that's the one. Men at Work is the one of Charlie Sheen, and
that's what I was thinking of.
But no, Repo Man's the one where he's like he's like a young punk or whatever, and it's like one of those like kind of like 80s punk rock films, and he gets a job as a repo man. It's like, whatever, man. It's like, no, man, I think you'd be good working at it. It's like, yeah, whatever. And he just kind of goes into it with like an attitude, and as it goes on, it starts to get like weirder and weirder until it gets almost even sci-fi-y. That's what I love about that film. If you've never seen it, Repo Man is totally worth checking out. Great movie.
That sounds more like a Stephen King movie than Maximum Overdrive almost.
Well, it is, because at first you just watch this movie and you just you don't really know where it's going, and then all of a sudden it just kind of just like, what the fuck? We're going sci-fi now? It's like, oh, this is cool. And then before that, the only other thing I can think of that Emilio Estevez is in is Outsiders, and then the sequel, Rumblefish, or maybe he's not in the sequel.
Rumblefish is a sequel to Outsiders?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Still has Pony Boy and all those guys in it?
It doesn't have Pony. It only has like, it's got the guy from Something About Mary, his character. What's that guy's name again in the book?
Ben Stiller?
No, not Ben Stiller. That'd be amazing. The guy who's kind of like, he's like a comedic version of like Brad Pitt, and he's not.
Oh, he's the guy that was like in love with Mary, but she ended up. Okay. Oh yeah. Was he 2-bit? Is he 2-bit?
I think
he wore the Mickey Mouse shirt.
I think so, because I think Emilio Estevez is Soda Pop. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. That would be a good retrospect right there. Both those films.
And he was in Breakfast Club before Maximum Overdrive too.
Oh, that's right. Because that's 84.
Yeah.
And that's why he was like real famous, because he was like the one famous person in this movie compared to everybody sort of else. Everybody else was either starting out or, well, the guy who was like the Boss Hogg guy was an old actor. But beyond that, though, it was just like...
He's in Batman, right?
Is he in Batman? 89 Batman?
I think he was Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he was. And that's got Lisa Simpson in the movie, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oddly enough, that lady aged way better than everybody else. It sounds so weird, but like when I saw her in the new interviews, it was like, oh, I mean, then again, she's got that Simpsons money, so
yeah,
a little bit different. Everybody else kind of like, I think after Maximum Overdrive, I went to go work for a car dealership.
Funny how that happened.
It was the only trade I had, apparently.
Every day I was getting non-flashbacks.
I was looking at her. She is kind of like she did age much better than everybody. She's like the Jennifer Grey of Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of weird how that sort of was.
Was she the server who's all like, "We made you"?
No,
like,
she's the wife who has the really high pitched voice. Or she's like Cletus or whatever.
Why didn't she die? Why didn't she die? There were plenty of moments where she was out in the open and like, Cletus! Boom! That would have been hilarious. I'll say this. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, didn't the one thing run over her car? Oh no, they weren't in it at that point. Never mind. The car gets destroyed, but they're fine, I think.
She lives. Lost opportunity, really.
Yeah.
I think that I'll say this. I'm surprised. I was surprised. We'll jump a little bit of spoilers here. But when it ends and as many people get on that boat as they do, I was a little surprised. It was like, that's a lot more people than I thought would make it out here.
Like 75% of people make it.
So I was expecting something to happen, like they're gonna go on the boat and more shit happens, like a more like electric generated boat, not an old analog boat gets out there. Something I was expecting something like that to happen, but then I was just like, it just then it has the whole comical like. Turns out the Russian satellite destroyed with weather satellite armed with lasers.
That convoluted shit.
I love how Stephen King totally throws Russia like fucking under the bus right there. It just like has and it's like in quotes like laser cannon and like missile defense like they said wasn't on there. Because that's like in like hindsight when you just gotta look at that, it's like God, it just so threw them under.
Well, it is the 80s.
Yeah, it's the 80s, so it's like it was okay at that time period, you know.
Rocky IV did it.
Well, yeah, because it's like Rocky IV. Then you watch like Creed 2, and you're like, fuck. You know, what if we just had more faith in Dolph Lundgren? He would have been just casted out of society with his son.
Goddamn pariah.
I kid you not, in Creed 2, it's like you almost kind of go like, you know what? I don't want Creed's son to win, actually. I actually want fucking Dolph Lundgren's son to win because he had this very, very terrible life, it looks like. And, really at the end of the day, Creed isn't living too bad. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I still gotta see it.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I'm seeing it tomorrow.
So good, so good. Once again, Stallone always delights.
He wrote this one, right?
Yeah.
Helped with writing it at least.
And then it's just awesome to have Dolph Lundgren in a big movie too. You don't get enough of those anymore.
Oh, glad he's back for that. Oh, for a second I was like, is it just the son? We don't see him, but I'm glad to know that he's actually in it.
He was in the trailer.
They're pals too. He and Sylvester Stallone, they're good old pals.
Well,
all I saw was the teaser trailer where the whole time like, you can't do this. You can't do this. What are you talking about? You can't do this. And it just turns around as the Drago on the back. Like, oh fuck! That's the only trailer I saw.
Oh, okay. Well, it's just one of those ones. Like, I mean, really, at the end of the day, though, Dolph Lundgren does probably more movies than anybody else. He does like 4 movies or so, give or take, a year, and he's done that for like his entire life. Like, you look at his catalog,
straight to DVD,
and it's just, well, they're not straight to DVD. They're just, a lot of them are foreign movies. That's the thing. So I guess they're straight to DVD in America, but like in other countries, I think it's a big deal.
No, that makes sense.
Kind of like Jackie Chan, you know what I mean? It's like he has so many movies, but like really, it's like you barely see any of them come to the U.S. until they hit the DVD rack.
I miss Jackie Chan. I need more of him too.
I know. It's like we need more Jackie Chan. Like, there's supposed to be a Jackie Chan Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, which just sounds pure amazing.
Oh wow, yeah,
It'd been really good like 20 years ago.
I know.
I'll take it now.
Exactly, but whatever. Whenever it happens, it happens. I'll still take it. You know what I mean? I still like the old guys kicking ass kind of movies.
Oh yeah. Except for the Expendables, that didn't work for me.
You don't like Expendables?
I don't know.
Oh, I love those movies.
It didn't work for me for some reason. I don't know why. I think I just wanted them to be younger for some reason. I wanted to be shot in the 80s is what I think I wanted, honestly.
Oh.
I think Expendables 2 works. I think that one's the best one because that one has the most action. You actually get to see everybody have a moment where number 1, it's like they're all in the same movie. They're not all shooting a gun, but they're all in the same movie for a minute. Where number 2, it's they're all doing the shit. They all actually have more of a moment. The third one was still fun, but it was PG-13, and they just like they bring in all the young blood. It's like, why are you bringing in the young blood? It's all about the old dudes.
Yeah,
so.
that's what we all showed up here for. But no, I love that series no matter what. And 2 is definitely my favorite, but like I like all 3 of them. But no, kind of like going back to Maximum Overdrive. What are you gonna say, Ryan?
I was gonna say that another thing that seemed kind of like I just kind of like how maybe this was meant to be intentional, but there's the whole like because in old 50s movies, like old road movies, kind of like what Baby Driver was homaging, they always have that instant love thing, like you're a rebel without a cause, and like. Yeah, and you're a chick with a fine ass. Let's make this happen. That kind of happened with this because it was just very instant. I almost think like they could have just already been a couple. And he's just like, I'm just meeting up with my boyfriend after he gets off work. And I hitched a ride with this creepy Bible salesman along the way, which like all the people I hate in the movie, it's not like, oh, what the fuck are they doing on screen? Just get off the screen. It's just kind of, I'm glad they're there because they're perfect people to die later in the line, except for the Simpson lady, because that was just loud and annoying. But
they're all cannon fodder.
Yeah, but that lady, it just seemed kind of like she came in like what was she supposed to be, like a tough, hard as nails reporter, but that never really came in any way, and she was just like, oh yeah, I'm just smitten over Emilio, but it's like. You could have done a little. I don't know. I think it just seemed.
I think she was like hoboing it, is what she was doing.
Maybe I misheard it, but I thought it was like something like she was hoboing it. But did I hear something that she was like a reporter or something like that? Did I hear something like that? Or
she's not a reporter.
I misheard some shit. I thought maybe I misheard that. Just hoboing about.
They were just it's the 80s.
She's a
thing for going. Footloose, fancy free, just hey, you're cute, I'm cute, let's do this thing. And then there's cocaine, and then there's also Stephen King, and who's perverted as hell and creepy.
Well, it just seemed like Stephen King is weird as hell, but that even didn't seem like a Stephen King relationship compared to other books he's written. So
yeah.
It's one of those things. I think that's why he was trying to make an homage. For whatever reason, I thought maybe it was her outfit because she's wearing the hat at first. Maybe I thought I heard her say she was a reporter or some shit like that. Maybe I was wrong. But I kind of got a little bit of the 1950s kind of like instant love thing, which I think he was trying to kind of go for right there. Because I could tell, like, Emilio Estevez is trying to do the James Dean thing in this movie a bit.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think it was going for that 50s kind of feel, like, whether it be a Western or just a tough guy film, like those kind of ones. Because it's weird, because, like, watching Streets of Fire not too long ago, it's like, I see kind of, like, a lot of similarities between this movie and Streets of Fire. It sounds kind of weird, but they both have that almost, like, that tough guy Proto-Sin City kind of feel to them.
Well, Streets of Fire just takes place in another alternate world because you can't tell really what time is it. Is it like kind of the future? Is it the past? Because there's a weird mixed match of things, and that thing is like totally might as well be like you said, Proto Sin City. Where this one it feels more like our world, but just, this kind of 1950s sci-fi kind of tint to it,
Yeah. I think it's just Emilio more than anything else. Just has that, like, the tough guy demeanor going on, like Emilio Estevez.
Which makes no sense to me. Like, what? Like, nothing about Emilio to me. I know I've said this already, but I just like, no, Emilio, no. I'm not buying it. You're not going to do anything to me.
As I said, I think it's like it comes from Repo Man, because, Repo Man was right beforehand, and he was playing the tough guy in that, and he was Soda Pop, I guess, in The Outsiders. So, because he was Soda Pop, right?
Yeah.
So, even though that's
yeah.
not really the toughest guy out of all those ones, he's more like the mother figure of like the gang.
I thought was that Swayze that was mother figure of the gang?
I thought he was like he was the one, I guess, because he was the oldest brother.
He smacks Pony Boy. He's like, I love you.
He's more like the father figure, and then Emilio is more like the mother. If it was like a gay relationship, that's like what it would have been instead of brothers.
Oh, wait, he's like,
you totally just changed Outsiders for me. It's a completely different movie.
It's just the Patrick Swayze and Emilio. Like, love this family. We're keeping it together. Don't you ruin it, Pony Boy. You're our love spawn.
They're gonna go in the room. We're gonna role play now. So you're the Chippendales dancer, and I'm the coach of a youth hockey team, and we're gonna do this.
They're not brothers. Well, we say we're the brothers because it's 1962.
I need you to help me with this dance number, baby. Oh, baby.
Yeah, keep your damn mouth shut, kids. Don't tell anybody what goes on here. The Baptist ministers.
The Greasers going to be the greatest dance troupe you ever seen. Just wait.
You can imagine that got out. It's like, oh, did you know that the Greasers were actually just picture 1962 mentality, and you figure out that the Greasers are just a bunch of like gay guys hanging out together, just posing tough. It's just like, whoa, that's what they all do in that house when they turn up their rock and roll racket and so on. And
someday we'll be as badass as the Jets in this West Side.
So the grease is not just for the hair, I assume.
Yeah,
no.
It's a lubricant. We'll just leave it.
Well, bright side, I mean, you can always, you just reach right into it, just like
dip in.
Oh, I got some right here. Yeah.
That gives a whole new meaning to Pony Boy.
Yeah.
Whole new meaning to that nickname.
It's kind of like one of those like fun sticks with like the sugar dip.
Well, I guess it also adds more meaning to Stay Golden, Pony Boy.
Yeah, don't you dare fucking change on me.
Stay golden.
You know why the church burned down, didn't you?
Yeah, they wouldn't accept us.
Damn Baptists. Oh my God.
Oh.
Wow, we fucked that movie up. We really did.
We did, but that's still always a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I say of Rumblefish. Rumblefish is a cool one too. I haven't seen that in a long time either.
I had no idea that was a sequel. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, they're all SD. What's her name? I almost said SD Perry, but that's the lady that wrote Resident Evil books. It's something like that.
Also both Coppola.
They're both Coppola too. Yeah.
They're also both Coppola. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they're all from like that.
But going back to this though, I guess when I said I got the 50s vibe, I guess I just think more of the aspect of just because the concept in itself, cars coming to life. And just treating it more of like an extreme 80s, or either just like how strange and how peculiar, And then on top of that, just the whole. I think one of the most interesting things about this is the number of cars. How each car had different personality,
Yeah, the cars or the trucks necessarily are like they all their own kind of characters in themselves. And especially as like a kid, like that's what stood out to you. Is you just saw like each, you see like the Green Goblin truck, and you see the one where like it explodes and there's like toilet paper, blasts out of it. Because as a kid you're like, oh, toilet paper came out of that truck.
It's a poop joke. Yeah.
And each is just like the individual ones and just like the cool, like the older pickups and just the different vehicles all thrown in there. And they're
talking through Morse code.
Yeah, the Morse code and everything like that. And that's actually like in the original like truck story and so on. And there's actually in the 50s there is like, I guess you could say the original car killing like story, which maybe this is where Stephen King got the idea from, is there's a story where it's about like a construction site, and on the construction site all like the vehicles and tools start coming to life and killing people there. And I think there's actually somebody, I almost want to say Marvel made an adaptation of it in a comic book. And then there's also either a made for TV or some kind of movie adaptation of that too. And I don't know, it's in the 60s or something like that.
Well, was that a Stephen King book?
No.
Or Stephen King story?
No.
Not in Stephen King, not in the 60s.
No, it's way before Stephen King.
That's weird.
But yeah, so it's kind of because it might have been a Marvel, like when Marvel was still doing a lot of horror stuff.
Before they really found superheroes as their main niche.
Yeah, because that was what that was like what Stan Lee did the whole time. Is he just wrote a bunch of horror stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What I was thinking when I was watching this movie. It's kind of off track of what you were just saying, but something hit me again. If this movie was remade, you know who I'd want to remake it?
Who?
George Miller.
Yeah, George Miller would kill it.
Yeah, he would murder this movie. I mean,
remind me, George Miller again. Remind me, who's the George Miller?
Mad Max.
Oh, that would be a perfect choice. You're
he'd kill
right.
this.
No debates here.
But it's just one of those.
I love that.
It's one of those movies. Like I feel like it'd be a hard sell nowadays because I think people. I mean, like if you want to make it a big movie, like like Blockbuster, it goes to like all the major cinemas and so on like that. I feel like it'd be a hard sell because people like it. Almost seemed like you can't do like fun stuff nearly as much as you once could. I mean, you can if you want to hide it off like on a certain network or make it straight to DVD or something like that. Mm-hmm. But like I don't know. Sometimes like. People might like balk at an idea like, oh, cars coming to life. Like, that doesn't sound very scary. Yeah.
Well, I think you also probably get some producer like, it sounds too much like this Final Destination shit. We already got a bunch of those. I could see somebody saying something.
Yeah.
Only Tarantino could probably get away with it if he did like another Grindhouse thing where he did like a double feature. That's probably the only director that can get away with making this a concept this close to the original concept. Somebody else would have to really, really, really change everything and have a convoluted reason of why these cars are coming alive, and also explain why some cars are coming alive and some cars aren't, which is a thing in the movie. I'm sure Stephen King has some weird convoluted reason why this is happening, and it probably involves a turtle and vomit, but we're just gonna go around.
Yeah, it's one of those. I just kind of like because I kind of fill in the blanks there, and I go, well, maybe there's only so much power to take over so many different vehicles, so you're not going to waste your time on some of these just like lesser end ones. Though then again, at the same time, they took over a little toy car that killed a dog, so I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's the weird thing is there's some parts who are driving their own car for a while, and then like some smaller things don't. Maybe just the delayed reaction, or even maybe as much as like, you know what, the robots want to fuck with them for a minute.
I think the simple way is if you were going to go to remake it would be just to stick to vehicles and vehicles only. Like don't really get involved with, I don't even think don't even involve like planes or boats, or just like maybe you can assume that they're kind of out there, but like I think the idea is just to keep it straight vehicles. And I think that's just kind of an interesting idea.
Well, here's a media, if we made it set in modern day, media game changer right here, missile armed drones.
Yeah, you could have that too. That adds almost like a huge layer to it. See, that's the only downfall is like at the same time does that take away, because nowadays almost like if you add it in there's so much computer controlled stuff that you could almost have like ridiculous amounts of all this like extra force, where I think when it's kind of like if you set it almost in the past, and maybe that'd be almost the thing to do is to keep the movie like as a period piece and just keep it straight up. It's like, nope, it's just these trucks that are coming after and getting possessed and killing people. Like just keep it locked in with some rules.
Yeah, like it has to be an isolated area, kind of like it is. So where like if you keep it like all over the world, then there's too many ifs, ands, and buts. But if you have it just like this area, the trucks are coming alive, they're killing people. I would watch. I would watch it. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you're right. It wouldn't fly today. The one thing I was thinking though, watching this movie, totally off kilter, but in Wilmington, downtown Wilmington, I think it's the USS Yorktown is down there, a big old battleship. That'd been so badass if that came alive.
Just start firing off.
That would have been so cool. Yeah.
That also would have been a good way to end it too, is just have it where the battleship starts to come alive and it fires off that direction. Once they realize that the humans have like turned on them, because there's that point where like they need the gasoline, and then that's like after that they try to like I know I like how they there's always an explanation, like they explain like why the trucks don't just like run into the building and just come crashing it down. It's like, well, they can't or else they'll get stuck. The trucks don't want to die. Though some of them, I guess, get like voted out to be sacrificed.
Well, even the whole thing you said just now about Wilmington, that almost seems like a good way if you want to do the dark ending for it to end on. Like, we think we made it out, and also you just see these big gun turrets just turn on them.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that's the way I would have ended it for sure.
This is
or a submarine even, like to get out there, like we're out here, and the submarine just pops up, like fuck.
This movie should have had just that like extra 5 seconds of an ending almost, or extra 30 seconds of an ending, because I think it would to leave it off with that kind of dark, like, oh god, this is it. Maybe because it was the 80s that they kind of wanted to add in a little bit more of the optimism, but I feel like it would have been like perfect to have the ultra dark ending in it, where it's just as they take off the ship, we're gonna make it, and just literally just end it, just have this submarine pop up. That's it. Cut the credits. Because that would be good enough. Cut the credits, no music. Wait a second. AC/DC comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't like it saying the last thing that you see on screen, doesn't it say, and all the survivors are still survivors?
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well, yeah, like that was very, inconsequential when you really put it down to things. Just kind of like a crazy night, you know what I mean?
That got me thinking, like, what if they did have an ending like that originally, and and like test audiences hated it? So like, all right, we'll just cut it off right here and say, don't worry, everyone did make it out alive, and also the Russians, wink, wink,
Well, isn't it like a big Stephen King trope that he has a hard time ending things? Like I've heard other people say that before, like some of his books and some different, like he has a hard time writing a good ending.
Well, I'll say this too when it comes to like endings though. It's like, because sometimes, I'll use like The Running Man, another Stephen King one, is that in that one, like the movie, it's got it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. So of course Arnold Schwarzenegger saves the day and gets all the prisoners out and they escape the Running Man and so on. But in the book, The Running Man, what happens is like, it's kind of interesting. The Running Man takes place literally across like a cross-country trip of the United States. And they literally hijack a plane and they crash that plane into the television center, and that's the end of the movie in the book. So it's like they go down with the plane to take out this, evil corporation all in one. It's like that's kind of a cool ending. Like I wouldn't mind seeing that like in there. And I don't know, the older
I've trouble pulling that one off today.
Yeah, you hard pulling that one. You can't pull off plane crash. You can't do a lot of things anymore. But like
into a building.
Yeah, into a building. Well, it's an evil building.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has frowny eyes. Look at it. That's how you know it's bad.
Well, where was the television studio located at? Well, the television studio was located in the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Oh.
But we could blow it up because it doesn't believe in #MeToo. So let's just blow it up.
Exactly, just one of those goofy old things. But like I don't know, it's like
it's a Weinstein building. What the fuck? Blow that shit.
Go there.
Bring it down.
Well, wait, it's his brother. Does that count? That's the one thing you never hear about the brother. You know what I mean? Like, did he just? Whatever happened to the old Bob in his horror movies?
I think it was just
his horror movie was right next door. It was called Thanksgiving when his brother shows up.
Walks in with just like a stiff drink. Did anybody already stuff the turkey? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Bob comes up. Bob comes on as a Me Too. It's just like, why are you on the Me Too? He's like, my brother on Thanksgiving. You get hammered, and then tell me if I want to make another horror movie, I have to do something. He called it stuffing the turkey, and he said that he was the turkey. And I was kind of confused what that meant because it felt like I was the turkey.
And you don't even know what he did with the baster.
Whenever I questioned his logic, he just slapped me upside the head. And he's the older brother, so he was always naturally stronger than me.
And I like making those horror movies, so I thought, well, I can't stop this now. Who else is going to hire me?
He's just stuffing a cream corn everywhere.
Or Bob Weinstein Dimension films.
But I will say, though, like, as far as endings go, though, like, I've come to the conclusion that I always enjoy the ballsy ending lots of times. I think because ballsy endings are kind of rare in movies. I mean, every once in a while you'll get one where somebody just kind of does it just to do it and it feels kind of unnatural. But a lot of times, like, I like to say, like, when you just get those kind of endings where it's just like, you know what, maybe they aren't going to make it. Sometimes it's almost like it can work for a lot of, films, or sometimes where it's like they do the sacrifice where they literally go like, nope, he's going down with the ship, you know what I mean? Or like The Running Man, he's going to crash that plane right into the building. That's it.
Well, a lot of times Stephen King stories, like, I'll be honest, like Stephen King, I'm not really a huge fan of him. I like more of his concepts in certain scenes. Like I think Shining is one of my favorite movies, but I think the movie is way better than the book. I think the book had a bunch of shit everywhere, and Kubrick knew what to like. All right, that's good. Don't need the hedges. Get rid of those. Don't need a hose with teeth. Get rid of that. And then from there, knew where to take it. And even the how like there's the whole dog man thing. How there's like a guy in a dog suit who the dude would fuck, and that's kind of weird and creepy. But when they don't take the time to explain it, and you just see some guy in a dog outfit down the hallway, it's like, what the fuck is going on? And not explaining it makes it that much more creepier. I just went on a Shining tangent, but like I think that sometimes Stephen King, it's not always it is not an end of movie. It's just like I think that he's everywhere with his shit, So sometimes
he's a great pitch man. He's like, to me, the world's most successful pitch man. Like, to me, everything that he's ever done would be better if he didn't have the final product of it. If he just went in and said, hey, here's a story treatment. Here's some of the concepts I have in the story. Here's some ideas I have for the story. Take it where you want to. Just, kind of keep it close to this. I think he's better. It's like Bob Dylan. He's a great writer, and like all his songs, he's one of the best writers out there, but they'd still sound better if somebody else did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can't take away from what he is. But that, to me, Stephen King's like that. It's just like, I wish most of the things that he has more say in, I wish that he didn't. Dark Tower, but
well, it's kind of
even Dark Tower. That was go ahead, dude.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's just like I think that Stephen King is that guy who has he has great concepts, but a lot of times the books are just like it's almost like the unedited version where. This is what I've always kind of learned generally in life is mostly if your book goes about over 400 or 500 pages, I've never read a book that goes that long. It's not like a history book or something that needs to be that kind of long, but just a regular book that goes over that length of pages that you ever go, you know what? I think all those pages need to be there because that's how I felt The Shining. It's like 700 something pages long. If you probably trimmed out about 300 pages of that, and I know some people would scream blasphemy, I'm like, no, I think it would play a lot better if it wasn't just so drawn out and just kind of going into all. And I know people that really like novels. That's actually what they like the most. They love the drawn out. They love the over descriptions and all that stuff. And I think maybe coming from like a movie kind of background, you get kind of used to being like getting the fat trimmed and like making the movie very like slick and just flowing and just streamlined as can be. But I do kind of think that's how I think about lots of ones. That's why I think a lot of times when you get like The Shining, it's like that's all the best parts of The Shining in a movie, and we don't have to, you know what I mean? Because then it's like you watch that Shining, the movie or the made-for-TV one that Stephen King did.
Never watched it.
Oh boy,
it's worth watching.
It's a rough watch.
But it is. I will say it is kind of a rough watch because once again, nothing happens for like the first 2.5 hours or whatever, and it's one of those ones where all the little extra things in it just. I don't know. Just they're not necessary. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's a time and a place for because certain I'll say when movies have an extended cut, I generally think that's the best thing ever. But sometimes certain books, I think, just kind of go a little too far in that extended.
Way too long.
Well, going back to the way how he ends things, I never actually read the end of the last book of Dark Tower. I did read one of the books and liked what I read, and I saw the movie, and the movie kind of did its own thing. But the last book, I want to say, and this is just me going off of reading an article about just on Dark Tower, it ends on this way of they realize there's the real world, our world, and then there's the book world. And in real life, Stephen King got hit by that truck, and they had to make it so for Roland, the gunslinger, to do what he has to do. He had to make sure Stephen King got hit by the truck but survived still, and he inserted himself into the story as everything hinged on him finishing his book. And it just seems a little, I don't know. I mean, I kind of just want to read a sci-fi western. But I mean, it's his vision, and dude's a fucking millionaire from doing what he does. But that's one of those kind of endings right there. I'm like, okay, all right.
It's just the extra stuff. It's the turtle and it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's just weird.
Well, you know what's the funny thing? This ties into Maximum Overdrive though. Is when Stephen King got hit by the truck. It's the same date as when the meteorite shows up in Maximum Overdrive. Not the year, but the same. It's like July 19th or whatever the heck it says in there. Mm-hmm. He got hit on July 19th.
That makes sense. I can see that. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a funny little factoid. It's like, oh, it all comes full circle. Like
when you mentioned the world, when you mentioned the turtle, are you talking like the world turtle? It's like kind of the supreme god thing from It or whatever.
I don't even know the whole thing. I just know that there's a galactic turtle, and it vomits, and there's the universe, and then there's some type of dark entity that conflicts with it somehow, and that's what It is. And it's just, and he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to Maine, because if I was a dark entity and I had the whole world to go to, you know where I'm going? Maine.
A place called Derry that's not even spelled like Derry.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that in the new movies? I haven't seen the new movie yet.
No, they just did the kid part.
Yeah, they just do. They reference the turtle. I've noticed in it. Like there was, I kept seeing turtles in the movie It, but they don't really talk about it. It's just, but they kind of allude to it, just to play around. But there was like little Easter eggs, and they were all turtles. But I don't know the whole thing. So
what was interesting is that so I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm kind of a lukewarm Stephen King fan, so I know enough that his stuff takes place in the same universe. And watching Dark Tower and seeing they're trying to do a Marvel thing, like, okay, all these kids have the shine, and then at some point they're in like an abandoned carnival, and you see like All Hail Pennywise or some shit like that. So just trying to find little way. Apparently Randall Flagg, which in the movie is called Walter, I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but Randall Flagg pops, who's the Matthew McConaughey character, pops in other books that aren't horror stories, so that those kind of link together. So even something like Stand By Me takes place in the It world and all that stuff. Like, just he'll mention something. Oh yeah, they drove by this town and they stopped in this shop. This guy was there. Like there'll be like one or two little things he mentions offhand in some book. Like, oh, that links to this book over here. And then Dark Tower is the overarching thing that branches it all together. So
that's crazy.
So in a world where a couple of kids are looking for a dead body, a few towns over, there's a fucking clown eating people.
and a few towns, a little bit south of that, there's Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's part of his continuity. Is there a book to it? Is there a book to Maximum Overdrive?
It's a short story called Trucks.
Okay, then maybe what was the original? What was the original? Because he has a bunch. This is probably more Stephen King than just Maximum Overdrive. What was the original Lawnmower Man? Wasn't that just about a guy, like a mentally challenged guy who just mowed the lawn, and one day goes like crazy and just kills the guy in his backyard?
Yeah, I only know the movie for Lawnmower Man. I don't know the book.
It was a short story. I thought it was something like.
That's a great movie, though. And the actor in that movie who plays the Lawnmower Man is like a spitting image of like Trey Parker. It's really uncanny.
I have to keep an eye. I ever watched that movie.
It's just crazy to me when I was watching this. Obviously there's different levels of involvement for Stephen King, but the same guy that gave us Maximum Overdrive in some way gave us Shawshank Redemption. Mm-hmm. It's just like, it's just the spectrum is so wide there. It's just, God, like to me, Shawshank is the best movie I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. It's in that echelon. I can't say definitively, but it's in that. Shawshank, Goodfellas, Back to the Future. Those movies to me are like almost perfect. But and then you got Maximum Overdrive. I'm like, how did this come from the same brain? But it did. I mean, it's just that's crazy to me.
Well, I think it's just like
that's that day Andy Dufresne got out and was murdered by a car that very same day after crawling through a river of shit. Like how much? He's like, doing that shit. All of a sudden, the fucking car gets sentient.
That's who killed his wife.
The Green Goblin.
The car did it.
Fuck, it was the Green Goblin. I thought he was like, Andy, I think I finally found him. It just puts down like a picture of the Green Goblin car, or it's a micro machine of it or some shit like that.
It's like on a keychain.
And Morgan Freeman's actually, he's Idris Elba's character from The Dark Tower. It's all connected, guys. It was totally like this before. It's not just connected because cinematic universes are popular. This was like all connected before. So
I just want to say this about Idris Elba in Dark Tower. I have no problem with Idris Elba playing him. I thought he did a fine job. My only thing is I want him to wear a cowboy hat because he's a fucking cowboy.
Yeah, where's that?
That's my only complaint. He never wore a cowboy hat. I don't give a shit that they made him black. That's fine. He's a great actor. He could pull that off. I want him with a cowboy hat. Why the fuck do we have a Western and he's not wearing a cowboy hat? I just had to get that out.
Yeah.
It's that joke I've seen on Twitter a couple times. Like there's a bunch of men in a room, and one guy raises his hand and says, "So if you have to be gay with one guy," and about 10 guys interrupt, "I'm just Elba."
But I think really for like the credit of Stephen King is like you gotta like it when like a guy can make like something that is like award-winning perfect film, and then can also make something that's just super fun, like Maximum Overdrive, and he can go to all different places. It's kind of like the same thing. It's like what Tarantino did, because I remember when Tarantino came out with Dusk Till Dawn, people are like, "Oh, what's he making this garbage for? Like, I thought he was this award-winning filmmaker, and now he's making this horror movie crap." That's how people kind of treated him when he did that. So I think it is kind of cool when you see people go like, "No, fuck you, I'm gonna do whatever I want."
Yeah, and I give him credit just for being a guy who gets so much shit done. I mean, he's like, I can complain about this or that story, but shit, I won't, when I die, I won't have nearly as much done as him. So
I've been writing the same article for a week. This dude like puts out like all kinds of shit, man. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, he cranks.
Like, he really does.
Because you always forget how many Stephen King stuff there is. You think like the top 10 big ones, and it's like that barely even scratches the surface of how much work he's done. You know what I mean? And it's just like, especially when his name's just tied to other stuff, they're like, oh shit, I didn't realize he was connected to that. And and he does comic books, and he's into here movies and stuff that like a lot of times don't even have books based off of them and so on. It's just interesting all the different things he does.
He's in the first volume of American Vampire.
Yeah, he writes half of it.
There's a picture of him. He goes to like Boston Red Sox games, and he'll write during the game. So he's like, I just want to get out. So he'll be sitting in the crowds at Fenway, and he's writing. But like, there's a baseball game going on.
See, that's when you got that kind of money where it's like, you know what? I could go down to the coffee shop, but instead I'm just going to go to the front line of the baseball game and just get some ideas going.
Just something we score. Oh, it's nice. Good, very cool. Just goes back to writing. No big deal.
Yeah. I suppose one's like, you can some people sit at home and watch the game. Stephen King goes to the game and writes.
Yeah. Leaves his mansion in Maine. Goes down to Fenway, writes for a while, drives back home. Probably got season tickets.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because it's weird to think, is it's like, there's only so many authors that are like ginormously big, like Stephen King. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even like nowadays, do you think like, if you were an author, could you get to that same level as Stephen King? It's like, I don't think that's really even possible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who is in that category that's gone on for like 40 years? I mean, there's big authors, like John Grisham and Michael Crichton.
Clancy.
And Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
Tom Clancy's pretty close, I would say. But it's even still, because he spanned into video games. And really, I think if Tom Clancy never went into video games, I don't think he'd be nearly as big as he was. I think the video games is what made him a household name. I mean, also, you got movies like Hunt for Red.
Splinter Cell and all that.
Yeah, but I think Splinter Cell's like, that made every child know who Tom Clancy was. And Rainbow Six.
I think, and this is more of kind of like for this one franchise, even though she does primarily write, I guess, mystery novels now, but I mean, I guess you got J.K. Rowling, and that's not 40 years of work behind her belt, but that's like close to 20, and her name still sells a book. So.
Well, her name sells a book, and I'm not saying, that's like a lot, but that's all she really has, though, is Harry Potter. She's not like, oh, shit, she wrote this thing, too, I mean, she's not jumping genres or anything like that, and just, you find her just...
She apparently mostly writes mystery novels.
It's like, oh, shit,
now,
she was the director of Creed, too? I didn't know that. You know what I mean? It's not like, where Stephen King's that one where, like, you'll just keep finding him in, like, the weirdest places, and you're like, oh.
He primarily it's weird. He'll usually stick to horror, and if he's not doing horror, it's like some intense drama of some sort. That's kind of what it usually seems to be. And, I'll say Stand By Me. I mean, I could see him. All right, here's actually something. Here's a Stephen King thing that I think is absolutely perfect. Misery. I think Misery is a perfect Stephen King book and movie. I think the one though that it's probably the most like, oh, I guess that's Stephen King, is Stand By Me. I think that one seems different from everything else he's done. Aside from, it's like Stand By Me and Maximum Overdrive, two most different things.
And then there's Running Man's pretty different. I mean, like, it's like more sci-fi, less horror, more kind of sci-fi action. Well, you've seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one, but I know the book's way different. So.
It's still pretty. I mean, like, it's not like. I mean, it's different because it's a book and it has that, but it's the same concept.
Okay. I assumed it was. I thought it was just like a hard-boiled kind of like not super sci-fi-ish. I thought in the book, I thought it was one of those things where it's like more modern day type shit.
No, it's kind of like
Green Mile, something he did too.
Which one?
Green Mile.
Oh, that's right. He did that one too. Though I will say, Running Man's one of those ones too where I think the movie's better than the book.
Exactly. Because there's a part where he does it all where he just like, because he touches people and he knows they know, and he spits bees into their mouth or whatever.
Yeah, there's something weird in there.
There's always
something. I would hate to be the guy that or the group of people that have to clean out Stephen King's house when he dies. The kind of shit you're gonna find. Oh my god!
Oh, imagine. Well, there's gonna be so many crazy fucking books that he's probably not even finished, or he's just like, this is my best word. Kicks to the side, like, It Part 3 or whatever.
We never got an It Part 2, but I found an It Part 3. And his house is probably built on an Indian burial ground, just like half the movies are.
Yeah. Oh, they're remaking
Pet Cemetery.
Pet Sematary. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they got John Lithgow in there as Herman Munster.
Oh yeah.
No, you don't want to go down that road now. You see, up there's a Pet Cemetery up there. Don't want to go there.
Sometimes dead is better. I like how South Park always has that guy, and he's always cleaning the same like auto part whenever they show him.
Exactly. Just makes me laugh. It's like
they even come in like it's like the Amazon man's has come for your woman. He's got a free taste of pussy, and he's never gonna leave.
The one about that new Pet Cemetery, though, if they don't end it on the Ramones song, is it really that good then? Because that really makes the movie to me. Is Pet Cemetery when it ends, you go like, I don't want to live in a pet cemetery. Don't want to live my life again.
Yeah, you saw me. It's got to have that pretty much. It'd be like starting Star Wars without the cross.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point.
That would be like to not have that.
I've done it a few times. It feels awkward.
I know. It feels weird when you go see a Star Wars movie and you don't have like the crawl. Or even it feels weird without the 20th Century Fox logo. I'm sorry. Like, just that's kind of like the prep thing that gets you into the mood.
Are they gonna like now that they own Fox? I don't know when that starts. I'm assuming like January, because pretty much everybody signed off on it now.
I know it's sad.
So
it's
I
so
guess
sad
when they
that
own
Disney owns
Fox,
so much.
It really
It's
is
terrible. We should not have monopolies like this.
But see, I get mad about it. I'm like, fuck Disney, and then I'm like, oh, that streaming service is coming out. I'm getting that shit. I'm gonna watch The Mandalorian. like it's coming out, and I'm definitely gonna. It's gonna be less than Netflix. It's gonna be cheaper, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get that. But yeah, I guess now that they own 20th Century Fox, when they'll own A New Hope now too, because it's the only one they didn't own. So now I guess they could bring back the Fox fanfare if they really wanted to.
Yeah, I guess they could bring.
Yeah, I don't think they need that. I mean, it's one of those things where they could do that if they wanted to, but I don't think they need the 20th Century Fox. I mean, when you first hear it, it's a little jarring. But now we're like 5 or 6 of these movies in. I'm like, okay, I can get behind it or whatever. Not 5 or 6. I'm gonna say we're 4 in, right? We're 4 in. Yeah.
Still way too much, and I love Star Wars.
I think here's the thing. I just want to say this with Star Wars compared to Marvel real quick. Just the pacing. I think the one reason why people are able to hop on Marvel movies one after the other is because, like Marvel, it's like we might get a Captain America movie, but we're going to get another Captain America movie 3 to probably 4 years down the line. Where in the meantime, we got some other Marvel character to kind of take up. Like, oh look, here's Guardians of the Galaxy. Now it's Doctor Strange. Now it's Spider-Man. Now it's another Iron Man or whatever. where Star Wars, even though they have like expanded universe stuff they're making, it's still kind of the same characters we've always been following for the most part, with the exception of Rogue One. So I think that most people aren't keen onto that. Like, wait, the last one was moving forward. Why is this one a prequel all of a sudden? You know, so.
Also, people fight about it nonstop, and then usually there's like a break period, and now it's just like, I'm pissed about this, and I'm pissed about this, and I'm also pissed about this, and it just doesn't stop, and it makes you hate it because it's like, shut the fuck up and let me like this kid's movie.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you shouldn't hate having more. That's what I always feel. You know what I mean? It's just.
Oh, I mean, I watch them all over and over again. I watched Solo like 4 times, and it's probably my least, other than the prequels, it's probably my least favorite Star Wars movie, and I still watch it all the time. I mean, it's, you know.
Well, it's like, it's one of those things where, I mean, I like all the Star Wars movies, with the exception of Attack of the Clones. But
I love Attack of the Clones.
But it's one of those things. You're gonna be he's dying on that mountain. Don't fight him on it.
You said you like it.
I love the prequels. I actually like the prequels more than most of the Star Wars movies.
I like a lot of the prequels. The only thing I hate about Attack of the Clones is the deck scene where he goes to the diner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hate that.
1950s diner in space.
Yeah.
Like what?
It's American Graffiti.
George. Yeah, exactly. That's what's going to say. George, this is not American Graffiti, bro. This is Star Wars. And when you make Indiana Jones in a few years, remember that's Indiana Jones, also not Star Wars. Just kind of remember that. I don't know.
But
I know we got way off track, but still.
Oh, just the whole thing with Star Wars. I just think that it's just too much. I think it went from being this thing we got once in a while, this thing we get every year, and you already got things that already kind of inspired by Star Wars. They're coming out every year on top of that. So it's kind of, I think it's a little too much for most people.
You know what? Is the Stephen King, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is the Stephen King shared universe kind of dead now?
I don't know. I think it died with, I think they're planning, what they're planning to do with Dark Tower is the original plan was to make a Dark Tower movie, have a season of the show, and then come out with another movie and go back and forth like that. We would have a movie continuing things forward, and then you'd have a show that takes place back when he was in training and all that kind of stuff. And so that way I didn't have to pay, he was younger, so you wouldn't have to pay Idris Elba an exorbitant amount of money to be in this TV show. But it's one of those things like, it's a cool, ambitious idea. You just gotta, I mean, I wish I liked Dark Tower more. I liked moments of it. I thought it was just kind of okay. But, I mean, it was one of those things that could have been anything. It could have been super violent. Could have been the crazy horror, sci-fi, Western thing. I think it was meant to be, but they kind of made it PG-13 and had a heavy emphasis on this kid. It's just like, I can relate to a fucking Western, a fucking cowboy from another like world. It's not like he's a fucking talking robot. He doesn't need to like meet a fucking kid and get to know him. Like, oh, we really needed that shit. I can probably relate to the talking robot fine by that, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, why do the Last Action Hero for this kid when we can just focus on Roland?
Yeah, it kind of did the thing where it felt like it went for like alternative comic 2000s. You know, like those kind of movies where they make them where they have all these grand ideas they could go with, but they just kind of go with the simple path, the least violent path, and it's not a bad movie, but there's nothing really to take home from it either. That's kind of how I felt. Like I enjoyed it, but like it wasn't one of those movies where like, shit, I can't wait for the next one. It's just like, well, if the next one comes out, I'll see it, but yeah, definitely not going out and buying this, I guess.
I mean, there's some really cool concepts. I like how crazy some of the shit is. I like how like they have the people with the rat faces, just kind of Matthew. You know, there's a lot of things in it that I liked, but I already like Dark Tower. So I'm not like an expert on it, but I already kind of like Dark Tower. So when I do know of it, like, oh, I remember that. But then I don't know. I'm just yeah.
It did. It died.
I know. It's kind of one of those ones, you know. Sometimes I feel like
it's forgotten the face of its father.
They just need to go the distance in some of those movies. I think it's one of those ones when you got weird concepts, you got to go full 100% of the way. You can't go about like 50% of the way and start backpedaling. And I think that's sort of like what these movies kind of do sometimes. And it's just like, no, just go the whole way. Just see what happens. You know what I mean? Because if you backpedal, it's a guarantee the movie's not going to do good. But if you go the full distance, you're still rolling the dice. But I feel like you have a higher chance when you go weirder than if you just kind of stay and just do kind of something generic, you know?
Yeah, well, apparently... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like a lot of the stuff that is written today that turn out to be bad movies with good concepts, they should have been TV shows. Like, a lot of Stephen King. Probably Dark Tower should have been just a TV show to begin with. Gives you more time to get into the world. Assassin's Creed's another one that I felt like, man, this would have been a great TV show. You got a little bit of time to spend here, a little bit of time to spend there, let it build and marinate instead of just trying to shove it all into a movie. I think they do that, especially with Stephen King stuff. I think a lot of it would be better if it was, because Netflix shows now play like a book. It's not like old TV shows like on AMC where it's like, okay, we got to put this much in it and then there's a commercial and this much in it and there's a commercial. We got to structure the show based around advertisements. Now it's like, oh, Netflix, one show's 50 minutes, next show's 42, next show's 55, it's just like chapters in a book. So I don't know. I'm glad they're kind of bringing some of his stuff to TV. It seems like it's working better.
Well, apparently that Castle Rock show is supposed to be really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard that too.
And that's kind of meant to be another Stephen King universe thing, because it's about but it's more the horror stuff, not so much Dark Tower stuff.
Keeping the Dark Tower parts out of it. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they do with the Dark Tower next, because that was that thing that people waited so many years for it to come out. And it's kind of like, well, we tried it, whatever. I guess it wasn't that good of an idea.
Well, it's one of those things they originally got Ron Howard. Ron Howard was going to do it. And he was the one pitching the idea of we're going to do a movie. We're going to then do a TV show, because Dark Tower was one of his favorite things. And then as things go along, they got a dude, no offense to this dude, but they got a dude who's probably a lot cheaper and probably just would bend to their will, because he's like, hey, Ron, so what's this about? What's this? You forget the face of your father? Well, that's his code. That means you've lost your way. Can't we just say that? No. No, why
I'm fucking Opie. You better listen to me, bitch. I'm Opie Taylor.
I made Grand Theft Auto, the movie.
I loved how, do you remember when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out and was really popular? They re-released Grand Theft Auto, the Ron Howard one, and it had a cover that looked reminiscent of, the cover of Grand Theft Auto 3. I loved that when that came out.
He had to get a big check out of nowhere. He's like, what's this for?
Oh, shit, Grand Theft. Well, because that there's so many kids probably went into a Blockbuster and went, fuck, there's a Grand Theft Auto movie? I didn't know this was based on a movie. You know that they did that and they rented it. That movie probably skyrocketed in, sales and rent all of a sudden.
When's this redheaded kid going to pull a gun out and shoot a hooker?
Well, I thought he was supposed to be Italian. Well, whatever. You know how it is when they make adaptations. But no, see, I think that's one of those ones, I think if you would have had somebody like Ron Howard who, was really into it, super director, super actor, and just let him go to town and don't question it. I think they really need to start doing the thing that they do in Japan, where when they hire a director, they let the director just go to town. That's what it is. They're like, well, we made our decision. When we chose this director, we gave him full control and we let him do it. I think that's a smart idea, instead of trying to come in there and being like, well, are you sure that's the right idea? Because I think once you start questioning a director, it's like, well, why'd you hire a director? If obviously you don't trust that judgment, then why aren't you doing it yourself?
Can't we give him a funny sidekick? Make it voiced by Kevin Hart?
Yeah. The kids love the Kevin Hart. Actually, there's a movie coming out where Kevin Hart actually looks serious. It doesn't look like he's going to be the goofy, Chris Tucker ripoff.
Huh.
Yeah, well,
good for him.
I was like, oh, he's
escaped.
reaching out, because that's what he always feels like. He feels like you're getting the short, cheap knockoff of Chris Tucker, who's not nearly as funny as Chris Tucker. Now, granted, I'll say Kevin Hart does have a handful of jokes that, just like anything, you throw enough jokes out there, you're gonna hit a good one. But for the most part, I just kind of feel like I'm watching a recycled character.
His stand-up's decent. It's his movies.
Yeah, his stand-up was a little bit better. I was
okay.
a little bit more impressed with stand-up. It wasn't anything amazing, but I was like, oh, okay, he's a little bit more dialed in here. When he's in the movies, he just kind of feels like recycled 90s character.
Yeah, unless he's with The Rock. He does okay with The Rock.
Yeah, because there was that one that one
Rock
Rock movie with him in it, and it was like, God, what was that one called?
Central Intelligence.
Yeah, that one was actually pretty good. I was actually kind of surprised.
Yeah, it was decent.
He was written well in that one. I was like, oh, okay. Well, then again, The Rock generally mostly is the saving grace of everything. You put The Rock in some...
Pretty much anything.
Except for that Jumanji one. That was the only one that was The Rock was amazing, don't get me wrong, and his name was Spencer, so that just made me that... When I kept hearing my name, you kept hearing Spencer, and it turns it's The Rock looking. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good day.
I'm just waiting for a movie where it's just I don't know, where I just already see a poster right now of what are those little things like parents have to hold their babies or like right here. I can just see Kevin Hart in one of those, The Rock buying like Rock's wearing one of those. Kevin Hart's little baby there. Artist thing. Yeah, I could definitely see some shit like that.
There's a Wayans Brothers movie that was kind of like that.
Junior.
No, not Junior. It wasn't called Junior's the Arnold Schwarzenegger
Wayans
one.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Was there one called Junior or Little
Man?
Maybe,
Little Man,
yeah,
I think that's what it was called.
Little Man.
Because that's when you said that was the picture came to my mind.
From the makers of Tooth Fairy, Man Baby,
comes another wild adventure from Walt Disney Studios.
A bottle. I thought I was breastfeeding.
This fucking May. Get ready for a baby of a party. It doesn't make any sense. I don't fucking know. It's in the paper.
Baby of a party. Oh, but well, I know it's getting late for you there, Wes, so we probably can wrap it on up so you don't have to stay up too late there. But if you've never seen Maximum Overdrive before, it is a movie so worth checking out. Now, granted, I will say it is one of those ones, if you weren't there for it, like, in the 80s or 90s to watch it when it kind of was originally out, it might be, I don't know, it'd be an interesting, it's an experiment of a movie. Like, either I feel like you're going to think it's amazing, or it might just be kind of hokey, or it might not be your thing. It just depends, I guess, on the person who, how much they can go into an older movie, but it might not stand out nearly as much. But to me, as a kid growing up watching Maximum Overdrive, it was like one of the most ultimate experiences, and I don't care. At the end of the day, it's probably my favorite Stephen King story, creation, what have you, of all time. The only thing that'd be close to it's The Running Man. But I feel this one's more Stephen King. Like, Running Man's kind of like, oh, here's the Running Man idea of that, and it's kind of, everybody else taking off with it. Where this one's like full Stephen King, as Stephen King as you can get for a movie. And to me, it's like, I know The Shining's a much more well-made movie, but Maximum Overdrive does put that little bit more of a smile on my face. Just gonna say it. You know what I mean? That's where I learned about AC/DC. That's where I learned about Emilio Estevez. Watching trucks kill people. Like, as a kid, you couldn't ask for anything better than that.
I agree. It's if you could snort a film, this would be the one you would choose.
Oh,
very snortable movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you're like somebody who's really, really, really into movies and likes, taking in different things and appreciating different styles and, just want to do something like you can appreciate something that's bad but is ostentatious and wants to try something different. This is pretty good. I mean, there's plot holes everywhere. So if you're looking for like a really solid narrative, like I want to be told a story tonight, this isn't your movie. But if you want the movie version of cocaine, this is your film.
Well, saying that, I'll say it first. When I first watched this movie, I was not like a big fan of it, and not that I disliked it. It just didn't jump out to me. But then I kind of thought about it a little bit more, and then while I was working on something, I kind of put it back on and watched it again. And I was like, oh, you know what? I kind of realizing what the movie is a second time around, I liked it a bit more. So it's by no means a favorite movie of mine, but I'm glad we watched it. And definitely, I think you put it, keep it in the headspace of when the movie came out, what the movie's trying to be, and it is meant to be satirical. And if you could snort a movie, you're right. AC/DC does the music for it. So, what other...
So fucking great. It really is.
And that's where the Who Made Who AC/DC song comes from, is from Maximum Overdrive. That brought AC/DC back even bigger and stronger. So, gotta thank that movie for that. I got one more cool factoid before we're out of here because I forgot to mention this, but it's an amazing factoid. When Stephen King was originally putting this movie together, he wanted Bruce Springsteen to star in it.
Well, the main character makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. He's way better than Emilio Estevez.
Can we get Bruce Springsteen? No, we can't get Bruce Springsteen. What about Emilio Estevez? Like, that's a jump, but probably.
Well, it's funny because I was watching the special features, and Stephen King was walking around with a Born in the USA shirt on. It was like, it all starts making sense.
Of course he was. Yeah. Because Bruce Springsteen was like, that's peak era Bruce Springsteen
dude,
right there.
That album
like
came out, he was as big as you can get for Bruce Springsteen. So talk about, that was probably what it was. Like it's a Bruce, that would have been awesome though. I just thought about that. I'm like, oh my God, Bruce Springsteen, like firing a rocket launcher off at a semi truck. Oh. And you gotta still keep the AC/DC soundtrack for some reason. But maybe you would have got the Bruce Springsteen mashed up with AC/DC song. I don't know what that would have been, but I would have loved to hear it.
We need a collab. We definitely need a collab. That's almost Bruce Springsteen playing in this movie. First of all, that's great because even if he's a shitty actor, which he probably is, it wouldn't have taken anything away from the film. You know what I mean? It was just added to it, honestly. Mm-hmm. And that's almost as good as the idea of having the Droogs be played by the Rolling Stones. So that's pretty, because that was the original idea, is to have them play it. So yeah, Bruce Springsteen would have been good.
Rolling Stones play who?
The Droogs in Clockwork Orange. They were supposed to play. They were supposed to be the Droogs, which when you watch the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty much what they were doing anyway. It's just running around raping people. So
Charlie Watts was the one that got kicked in the balls and kicked into the river.
That's totally the Charlie Watts one.
Or Bill Wyman. Yeah. Or Bill Wyman.
Well, that's kind of like when they originally wanted to do when Stanley Kubrick wanted to put Lord of the Rings together. Now we're just going on a factoid journey, but whatever. When he wanted to put Lord of the Rings together, he wanted the Beatles to play the Hobbits.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, like in the 60s. Like, think about how cool that would have been.
Watch the fuck out of that. Look, I have to be honest, I don't like Lord of the Rings that much, but I would like that Lord of the Rings a lot.
Well, here's the thing, too. The Beatles are amazing actors anyway, so, like, that would have just been super, like, awesome. I don't know if it would have turned to, like, a song and dance at some point, but,
Oh, well, of course it would.
There would have been the tie-in album.
Well, first of all,
definitely.
Gandalf would have been hitting the pipe a little harder in the Beatles version of the film. Okay, let's just be real.
Gandalf, pass that shit over.
But okay, Wes.
Too strong for you, little hobbits.
As we're getting out of here, where's the best place for everybody to find your material at?
Man, you know what? These days with podcasts, you get that RSS feed. They throw that shit everywhere. I'm on podcatchers I didn't even know existed. I'm like, where did this thing come from? Overcast, Last FM. How the fuck I didn't okay this, but I'm there. So pretty much, if you have a podcatcher, you can find Via VHS. New episodes on the way. Definitely want to get y'all on for whatever y'all want to do. I've got a list of 500 movies starting from 1970 to 1999. Whatever you want. Except for Air Force One, because Spencer and I have already done that.
We also have 2 mysterious episodes floating out in space on your computer.
Yeah.
And if you don't put those up at some point, I'm going to do an Old Man Orange Presents episode.
You know what? You could do that. I think we could do that, because I don't even know what Via VHS is going to be when it comes back exactly, which is, well, I've never released them because things kept happening and like the show was on kind of hiatus and kind of not. But and plus one time I watched the wrong movie. I thought we were doing Escape from New York and we were doing Escape from LA. So I was like, yeah, and I literally had just got done rewatching it. Sat down like, oh, movie's over. Let's do this shit. And so we're talking Escape from LA. I'm like, oh, fuck.
See, because I'm the only person.
So we can do it before and after.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm the only person that would come on a podcast and choose Escape from LA to be the one to watch instead of Escape from New York. But no, I think if anything, in the near future, if you don't put those episodes up, Wes, I'll put them up as an Old Man Orange Presents, and we can do the Escape from LA and the Godzilla one. Because you didn't put the Godzilla one up either.
No, but it's edited. It's actually put together.
Oh, okay.
It's just sitting there. I need to do that.
Yeah.
I might even send that to you tonight.
Yeah,
but yeah, you can have them. They're all yours.
Yeah, if anything, I'll either upload them, and if you don't have them edited, I still have the copies on my end too. So no matter what.
Okay.
But yeah, no file should ever go unused in the podcast world. There's always good.
I agree.
And plus, I thought it was just fun because Godzilla was another movie too. It's like that's a movie that I love that I know that a lot of people don't care for. But I'm like, you know what? I can talk good childhood memories on this. But yeah, we gotta do this again soon. I know we always say that, and then it's never too far off, I guess. But there's always tons of more movies.
Oh yeah.
God, there was something we were gonna do that we talked about last time, and I know we're just dragging on now, but can't remember what it was. But we're like, oh, we should so do that movie next time, and you know how that goes. Next thing everybody forgets. But
it was Django. It was the other one.
Django.
Django.
The second one.
The sequel? I think it was the sequel to Django. There's the one where he's going to another country to get his daughter back or whatever.
That's right, and I bought that movie too. I got it, so I could just copy the DVD and send it out.
Yeah, I think that's what you were talking about doing, and that's not something that's on my list, so it'd be perfect.
Yeah, that'd be fun because that movie's kind of hard to come across too, and I've won it on eBay, so I got the DVD copy, so I can make some copies and send them out, so that'd be fun. But
hell yeah.
But till then, you can always check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, comic books, music, and all that fun stuff. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes,
and I'm Rand Dunigan, and our special guest,
Wes Younger.
We'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks again for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Sure, check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, animation, and a whole lot more. We also have the Old Man Orange blog going with all kinds of fun stuff. If you easily want to support the show, use one of our Amazon links either on the website or in the description of the podcast below. Rate, review, and subscribe to the show either on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Newgrounds, or anywhere else that you seem to get this podcast from. Grab the sitcom-styled comic book Pizza Boys on either Comic Central, Comixology, or Amazon. Want more podcasts? Check out the Indie Comics Club over at Comic Central. I also got a workout website called Thor's Hidden Gym, filled with fitness tips and tricks, videos, and a whole lot more fun stuff in the calisthenics world. Talk to us on Twitter at Spencer S. Holmes and Dunigan Ryan. Like our Facebook pages of Old Man Orange Productions and Pizza Boys Comic. Thanks again. We're out of here. I feel like this would be a good movie for him to talk about. He's in the area of this film. You know, it's like it's too perfect not to. But
They make Wilmington look so bad in that movie too. Wilmington's nice. Wilmington's really nice. I was like, oh shit, this is like the worst version of Wilmington.
I know. I kind of saw it in the special features. Like, oh, that's a fancy looking town there.
Yeah.
You're talking about how Lucky Logan was kind of filmed by you, right?
Logan, yeah, actually,
Logan Lucky, yeah.
Yeah, that one's actually filmed closer to where I'm actually from, because I'm not actually from the coast. I'm from like Charlotte area, and it was filmed at the Speedway. Days of Thunder was filmed near where I was.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, Patriot was filmed near me.
Even better movie.
A lot of it, not all of it. Yeah, I love the Patriot.
God, that's one of the best. That movie's so good.
Well, see, the reason Wilmington was used for this film, I imagine, and I'll let y'all go. I know y'all got to get off here too, but North Carolina was becoming Hollywood East. Everything was here, especially a lot of TV shows like One Tree Hill and Dawson's Creek was all in Wilmington. And they had a bunch of studios, and like Iron Man 3 was eventually filmed here, and it was getting all the film licenses, and then they raised the taxes, and now everything's in Georgia.
Yeah.
Everything's in Georgia now. They just built Pinewood Studios from London, and they built a new one outside of Atlanta, and that was supposed to go in North Carolina. So it sucks.
Well, it's like this Mad Max
At one point in time,
Maximum Overdrive. What's his name? The Italian dude. Dilo De Laurentiis. He built one there, and they did like 3 other Stephen King movies just right in that lot, and that was kind of like the main thing. And they did a bunch of other films. So
Cape Fear.
Yeah, Cape Fear they did in there. Yeah, just so all kinds of stuff was going on, and then it's funny how, like, because that's the same thing that happened to like Tuolumne County, like where I'm at too, and where Ryan's from as well. As they did the same thing where they're like, whoop, we can get some money out of these guys, and then everybody left and never came back. So it's like, oh, there's that. You know, the last big movie that ever be shot here was Bad Girls. 1994, you know, right after Back to the Future Part 3. That was the other like last big one too, and the Unforgiven. Dang. You know, and then after that, nope. After Bad Girls, they try to, you know, sucker them in for more money and never came back.
I have to show you all a video. I went and filmed one of the last things I did was the Hunger Games District 12. It's just up the road from my grandma's house.
Oh.
It's like once you get closer to the mountains, there's like a bunch of old mill houses that are abandoned. And so that town is like right there. And you can walk around District 12. It's nuts. And now like they're starting to get people so many people go that they've started like a tourist thing. And so you're supposed to like check in and like they give you a tour. And I'm like, fuck that. I just like walked around behind the house and then just did my own thing. And then I came across a tour group and the lady was like mean mugging me. I'm like, what's up? I already got my footage. Fuck you.
Dude, that's the one where you go there and you just kind of set up your own booth and you start to run the tourist thing and charge people admission.
Oh yeah, I would love to do shit like that.
You just look at her, you do little Jennifer Lawrence like wave thing they do in that, or whatever that fucking hand thing they did.
the 2 fingers or whatever.
The 2 fingers, just walk out.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. Damn it, you're right. I should.
It's like this or whatever. Yeah.
Oh man, I definitely should have done that. It's creepy there. It's creepy as fuck. It really is. It's odd. There, that and the Wizard of Oz set. The guy bought pieces of Wizard of Oz set and put it in the mountains, and it stayed closed for like 10 years, and you could sneak up onto it at night and just walk around like the Wizard of Oz at night in the mountains. And first of all, Appalachia is scary as fuck anyway. So yeah, there's all kinds of weird shit up there.
Oh, that's actually just
Some tweakers like getting high in a Munchkin house.
Yeah, it's probably what it's like now, actually. They open it during the fall now. They've got it all renovated, and during the fall they open it when people go up there to see the leaves, and then it's closed the rest of the year. So during the summer, you can sneak onto this fake Wizard of Oz set.
Well, I saw the Out of the Furnace movie. I see what it's like over there.
Yeah, that's well, at least North Carolina is pretty nice, but like the northern part, right before Virginia, and then like the southern part right before South Carolina, it gets crazy. But everything else is Asheville, where they built more houses, where Richie Rich was filmed and all that. That area is nice, but there's some scary places. Once you get off the interstate for about 20 minutes, you better, clench your butt and pray to Jesus.
Smells like chemicals out here. Go the other way.